Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
You know, they're upstairs, so I hope nobody can hear them. But the second you started talking, my dogs just went ballistic and started barking at
I can
something that
hear
doesn't
them in
have
the
to do with this.
background. Yeah,
You
they
can?
are
Yeah.
going wild.
I don't know why.
I
Like,
don't
my
know
sister
either.
ain't home. Like, they're just, yeah, they're, the two smallest dogs you ever see, and they are the gatekeepers of this household.
That's fair.
Their combined weight is like 30 pounds. It's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, I hope they shut up. But welcome to the new year in Stardom Quest. It is 2024 officially. Happy New Year's, everybody. Happy New Year's, Alex. Um, you know, year-end Puro has been pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been pretty rough. Um, Last night I was like, oh, I'll watch Noah, and I don't watch Noah live because their cards are insanely long and a lot of their undercards are rough. But I was like, oh, a lot of this looks pretty fun. Like I'll just watch it live. I've been watching it live. It exhausted me and was so mediocre to the point where the one match that I wanted to see, I like fell asleep during like the first 5 minutes because I was just like I just couldn't. And it was a good match. Like from what I saw of it, it was a solid match. Manabu Soya versus Keno. It was a very fun match. Because I like kind of woke back up, but like, oh my god! And then the main event was I hear worse, like terrible. Um, and that's just on top of like a lot of things. Like not Stardom. Stardom had a fine show. We'll talk about it obviously, but a lot of the year-end festivities, the New Year festivities have been pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, most of these companies are not very good. And then when
Yeah.
they're all running together, it's just like, oh, this is all slop. um, So yeah, I think it's just been there's no break between the shit, so you're just kind of stuck with it now.
And that's just pure. I didn't even mention one of the worst pay-per-views I ever saw, which was the AEW one last weekend.
You can't save AEW. It's too late.
Like
It's over.
I know, like sometimes I'm just like, well, I like this company and I enjoy the wrestlers, I enjoy the wrestling. So it's like, I want to support it even though I don't particularly like everything they do. That show just made me not want to.
Hmm.
Like they'll have me back tonight because Mariah May's debuting and shit, I guess. They haven't announced
She is.
anything. She keeps saying she's debuting on the 4th or the 3rd. Wait, what?
It
Wait,
would
but
be
the
the
4th.
third.
Yeah, she keeps saying she debuts this week. And I've heard it's on Dynamite, but they have not said if she has an opponent or if it's just like, oh, she's gonna win in 10 seconds and that's your women's match. Um, so I don't know. I like Mercedes might be there. That's another big thing, but it's like Jesus Christ, wrestling is bad.
Very, very bad. I a Sumo Hall show really needed to do a lot of heavy lifting. I won't lie to you.
Hmm.
Katsuhiko Nakajima tried. He tried his best to lift up everything.
Did you like that match?
He's a king.
Did you
It
see
was
it?
good. Yeah, it was good.
I fucking not as good as their first. Well, their fourth.
Yeah, the
Their
Corkin one
first,
was
their,
like
yeah, the
incredible.
Quirkin one was better. But like the vibes of Inoki's Katsuhiko Nakajima,
Hmm.
literally one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
He's a bad dude. It's great. But yeah, I mean, Seedling was cool. I don't know if you watched Seedling.
I started watching it, but I need to finish it. I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah,
I
like
started watching it New Year's
Sari is
Eve,
one of
and then I
the
got
few
sick.
joys in life. She's like
Yeah.
the constant. Sari is just like ridiculous. So yeah, Sari and Ayame was cool. Probably cooler than the tag match would have been, to be honest. Because Sari just killing bitches is cool. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I'm happy we got a second Sari title defense, like well, like
Yeah,
a
title
big
match.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
To
That's
end the
her
year.
first. I don't think did she defend
Oh,
it?
is it her first?
I,
I think
I
she had a
think
special
so.
singles against Rico. I don't think it was a title match.
Was that
Or am I
bullshit? That would have
just
been
forgetting
before
something?
she won, wouldn't it?
I don't think it was.
I feel like I would have
This is.
seen her versus Rico, but I don't
Did you not
recall.
see her versus Rico? It was quite good.
I don't think it happened. That's what I'm saying. I think you're mixing it
Uh,
up because I know Arisa wrestled
no,
Rico.
it happened. It was Sari versus Rico in September.
Which Rico?
Kaiju,
I
the
don't
retired
remember
one.
this. I
Yeah,
don't
it
remember
happened in
this.
September.
Okay. It was. I probably did watch it. I just forgot. But it was definitely great because Sari is cool.
Yeah.
Riko Kaiju was also cool. Question mark. She's, retired slash
Maybe.
indefinite hiatus slash who knows. Joshi is weird. I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
like Joshi, we're not getting into it, but the Hikari Noah thing is so mind
Oh,
blowing.
I I
Um,
I
like
haven't heard anything about it.
that is bottom of the barrel of what is going on. Ice Ribbon like changed their owners not even 2 weeks ago, and it got no play at all, which is insane. Because they are like literally changed the entire structure. And then got
Hmm.
Yuki Mashiro back. It's a weird scene. I won't lie to you. Like she was not retired that long. She just hated the old ownership that much that they went and she said, "Yeah, I'm cool with this. Let's go."
Honestly, like I think that's a lot of things with Joshi wrestling. If that
Yeah.
makes like that's like sometimes it's straight up just ownership. It's just like
Mm.
the way that the business is handled that like will take a wrestler out. I have many Joshi conspiracy theories, but we're not going to get into it. We have a lot more to do, a lot better things to do. Um, but yeah, that like Joshi wrestling is a scene where like you can't have conspiracy theories because it is so strange. It's such a I don't know. It's hard to describe.
Yes, that it is. And that's before even diving into Stardom. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking of Stardom, a decent bit of news over the past week. One of the big things is that they changed the card for the Ittenyon Gate show. They switched around the semi-main tag. It was going to be Donna Del Mondo against the freelancers, and it is now Divine Kingdom against Giulia and Suzuki. So that leads most people to believe that we're going to get some big kind of movement, especially just kind of after some of the post-match stuff from Dream Queendom. That's kind of the biggest thing they announced, I would say. There was another smaller announcement, but we can get to that. But
There was
yeah,
some stuff at the there's a new rookie.
that was the smaller announcement. Yes.
Was that the smart?
It was.
Yeah, I mean we'll talk about I think that like Micah in um conjunction with DDM is a very interesting place that we're at because
Mhm.
one thing I noticed like before the show was I was like like Suzu's a very treacherous human being like just like as a character as a wrestler like that's kind of like her bag and Micah is like the least treacherous wrestler I've ever seen um even when she left JTO, she did it like with full support of Taka Michinoku. You know what I mean? And you don't really have to do that. Like Taka's been upset about people leaving before, and Mike is like, no, she deserves it. She's probably like, you know, me and Rossi
Yeah.
talked about it. It makes sense. So it's like it's very interesting that it looks like she might not even betray DDM. She might just get ousted from it. Considering where the Suzu Julia thing's going. I think that's a very interesting note. Is that it's like literally till the end, Micah is just like, like she's like, nah, I don't
I,
betray
there
people.
was
I
a
ain't
lot
like
of
that.
there was a lot of stuff that was very interesting. Her celebrating mainly with Himeka as opposed to
Yeah,
with DDM. She's done kind of shoe pro, I think, interviews since where she was like, "Hey, I want to face Julia. We should, unify these two belts. I think that's a big match that they're going to do very soon. Is her versus Julia. So she herself in the interviews is already saying like, "Hey, we're on a collision course," and Julia seems to be siding with Suzu as opposed to her faction mate. So there's definitely tension once again between Maika and Donna Del Mondo, but this time through no fault of her own.
Yeah. And I mean, frankly, I and we'll have to get into it when it does inevitably come. It might have already came for everybody who's listening right now because there is a show behind us when this comes out that we haven't seen yet, the Triangle Derby stuff. So it might have already happened for all we know. It probably wouldn't. I think it's going to happen on the fourth. But faction movements right now are interesting because it's like I don't know, like, is there room for another faction?
Given they have like 7 or 8 people not in factions, yes, there really
Well,
is.
yeah, but like 4 or 5 of those are rookies.
Yeah, but they used to put rookies in groups like day one, so
That's true.
I don't see why they would
I'm
stop.
not opposed to them running another draft, if I'm being honest. I think right now is it makes the most sense in the past couple years,
I am
because of how
always
many
here for a draft.
yeah, because of how many people are unfactioned, but also because I don't know if there would be like I also think a faction needs to die, like one of them, just it just does. Like I think Micah needs a new faction, like that's probably where they're going. So it's like I feel like there's too many. One of them needs to die, and a lot of factions have 2 people in them. I'm not, you know who I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Um, So I think that's like
Oh.
a faction probably needs to die, but I don't know. Like I don't know if I want a Oedo tie to have to be like I challenge you to a match so that your group dies again, because that's kind of boring.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like a Club Venus at this stage can go already.
Hmm.
Um, you can like merge it with something. I don't know, but yeah, it's if you needed to make a group for Micah, that's the obvious choice because the other ones are too big. Cosmic Angels obviously isn't going anywhere. God's Eye isn't going anywhere. So yeah, you have Club Venus there as kind of a layup, just because
Yeah, I mean
Waka.
it was going to be either Club Venus or DDM, but with it looking like Suzu's going to be presumably leading DDM or at least co-leading it with Giulia until Giulia inevitably leaves. Unfortunately, I think that means that DDM is going to get revitalized. Uh, so I don't think you get rid of them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it
it
is
wouldn't
pretty
make
much just Club
sense.
Venus.
Yeah, especially because like if you got rid of DDM, you would have to have 2 new groups then
Hmm.
instead of just the one, because Mike would have to get hers and Suzu would have to get hers. So it wouldn't really make much sense.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I wouldn't go with that. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that they changed it. It definitely seems to be building to Micah and Julia, and you'd have to imagine they can't do that as both in DDM. So I'm kind of interested where that
Yeah.
goes.
Which is a shame. I always that's one thing I always kind of had a pet peeve about in Stardom is that they kind of outside of certain situations, they kind of like feel odd having like a champion be technically the second uh top member. Outside of like Asaya Kamatani. Like I never really liked that. I always thought that's like, oh, Shuri didn't need to leave DDM. I mean, like it made sense, I guess, for like God's Eye to be created, and like now it makes sense. I feel like Shuri has that kind of, uh faction leader, charisma and like style and just vibe. But like I was always like, you don't really she doesn't really need to leave. They could just be rivals within the faction. It's kind of like the point of DDM that they've always set out to be rivals with each other. So it's not. I don't know. I obviously the way the story is heading, Micah needs to leave pretty much, like just because of how the Suzu of it all. But I've always kind of been a little bit iffy about that thing in Stardom, where it's like everybody needs to be a faction leader, because it kind of diminishes what a number two in a faction can be. But that's just a me thing.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's intricate.
Yeah,
But
nuanced.
we'll just kind of have to wait and see how that plays out. I think the big reason why it appears we're going towards a Julia Micah match is Dave Meltzer said that it's very likely that Julia is headed to WWE um, relatively soon. I would imagine
It
she
got to
finishes up.
Japan.
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah, like
big thing is
they've
that
asked
Tokyo
her about
Sports
it.
asked her, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh yeah, isn't that cool?" Huh, huh.
See, I've always kind of expected her to be going there. based on the wording of the very first report, like they were so secure that they were like, "Oh, she's going to visit us." Like that's how far along they were in terms of negotiating with her. They were like, "Oh, she's just going to visit the PC." Like they, since that very first report, it felt like the WWE side is very assured that they're going to get Giulia. So yeah, that latest report kind of doesn't surprise me, especially with them losing Mercedes Monet. And I'm sure I'm not exposing anything here, but if you pay Giulia like 10% of what you're paying Mercedes, she's making a good living. You know what I mean? So you're
If you're
now
paying
have
her fucking 1% of what Mercedes was asking for,
yeah. So I think it's a case of they lost Mercedes
which they
allegedly.
probably will,
According to
by the
reports.
way.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Because
So if
like
you lose
I think
Mercedes,
that's
you
been a
have more
thing.
money for Giulia. So that's another thing.
Yes, but I think that's the thing that like EO has said is that, or like has been said about EO is that it's like she took a massive pay cut to go to WWE until like the past couple years when she was on the main roster. Like NXT is a major pay cut in comparison to being a main eventer in Stardom. So judging by that, yeah, using 2% of what Mercedes was asking for, they could pay Giulia, and Giulia will probably leave.
Yes. And I imagine they have a main roster idea for her. Um, the damage control seems to be going down a very specific avenue where she's right there. Julia
I
is
dare
there
WWE
to fill
fans to
in.
name which wrestlers in Damage Control have wrestled for Stardom. I don't think they would get it right.
No, no, that's very true. Because yeah, two of them have not, and it's probably not the two you expect,
Exactly.
depending. But yeah, I don't know. That just seems to be what damage control is doing. Um, I imagine Bailey is going babyface. Probably eventually takes Dakota Kai with her, and then Io and Kyrie get Julia and Asuka as well. She's there. But yeah, that's it. There's a place right there for Julia to slot in that you could reasonably see them doing, considering the LWO is a thing. So Triple H,
Yeah.
he's one of the oh
That
hey,
is
they all
so
look the
funny.
same. Let's
That
put them
is so
together.
funny because there was like that report, and I'm sorry, everybody, this is WWE talk, and we'll get to like the thing that you guys actually want to hear in a few minutes. But there's that report where it was like, oh, Triple H is very upset that like Latino wrestlers and Asian wrestlers think that they can't succeed in WWE. Like that's like a preconceived notion from fans and from wrestlers. And it's like, man, you got you got two Latino only factions, and you got a Joshi faction, and you've got no other no other Latino or Joshi wrestlers on the main roster. That's hyperbole. I'm sure there are other Latino wrestlers on the roster, but it's just a funny thought that it's like, no, we're rocking with y'all. We're rocking with y'all. And it's like,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna put you in the group, okay? You're gonna be
yeah.
one of many.
They do it with Indian wrestlers too. Jinder Mahal was
Oh
just
yeah,
managing. What's it Indus? Is it Indus Shear? Is that like 5 years ago now? I can't remember. But he was
he was
managing two
he was managing
Indian
the tag
groups.
team, yeah, with Shanky and Cheer, and I think he changed. I think he started managing somebody else, but I don't know. I don't
But I think they're
watch.
still Indian. Yeah, but I
Yes,
don't.
they are
I have
still
no
Indian.
idea. Yeah. So just pair them all up. Who cares? It's fine. It worked with the New
Ay,
Day, I
Dios
guess.
mío.
Just let it rock.
That was a very
Um,
unique situation.
I know.
Have you
I'm
ever
I'm
have
I'm,
you
I'm being
again, I'm
sarcastic.
sorry. Have you ever heard of the story behind that? That the way
Um,
they got that through was, "Oh, will this be like the new Nation of Domination?" They're like, "Sold." And they're like, "We're not gonna be the new Nation of we're not doing that."
that's fair. I like that.
But that's like how their pitch was like heard. It's like, "Oh, new nation, huh? That's interesting." And it's like, "Nah, we don't wanna do that."
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I suppose while we're on the topic of WWE, there was also this felt very offhand from Dave. So I'm
Yes.
not running to the shops with this just yet, but he kind of said that there's interest for WWE to work with Stardom. We've obviously seen WWE work with All Japan Pro Wrestling this week. They sent Eagles Kid to wrestle Katsuhiko Nakajima. So it's not totally out of the question that they are also interested in working with Stardom. Now, when I first heard this, my mind went to they want to sweeten the deal for Sasha by saying, "Hey, if you sign with us, we'll let you do the Japan thing."
They did that
Right?
before, didn't they? With
There was
Danielson.
reports, yeah,
Danielson.
there was
It was
reports they
Danielson.
wanted to do that with Danielson. Yes, yes. So when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, they want to sweeten the deal for Sasha Banks." But obviously, they have since lost out on Sasha Banks, and she's going to AEW. So that might change it. They might just not want to make use of Stardom anymore. Like it could be
Yeah.
that easy. It could have just been, "Hey, we want to work with you," and send Sasha here, and now she's gone. So that's it.
Yeah, and I think uh I'm not as like anti the idea as many are. I'm anti it in principle, but I think in practice I would be a lot, and you would be very high on the idea theoretically. Um because it's like sending the NXT girls to Japan is like, yeah, they probably should do that. There are a lot of great wrestlers in NXT, a lot of great women's wrestlers in NXT that could really use another perspective on pro wrestling that they will never get because they haven't wrestled outside of WWE. But like on the other hand, it's WWE.
Yeah,
It's
you're letting the wolf in. You're,
exactly.
you're letting the wolf in. Like
Like we talk about how destructive, and they are, how destructive AEW is sometimes to their partnerships, but it's like I don't think AEW is gonna buy Stardom. That is a fear with WWE and All Japan right now, is that they might just outright buy them. Uh, Whereas like that's not a fear with uh AEW and DDT or whatever. I mean, like
yeah.
that's where like a lot of the fear comes in, is just how aggressive WWE is in their business practices.
And Triple H especially, his idea
Mhm.
is a global presence, and it has been for years. Everybody has seen the screenshot of like the NXTs going to different continents and stuff. That's his vision. Is
Yeah,
is having a WWE presence in every market possible. And yeah, if you can
he
get in
loves
with All
imperialism.
Japan, if you can get in with Stardom, you can do similar to what they did in the British wrestling scene with Progress and ICW and stuff like
And
that,
that shit
where
has not gotten back. Like
oh,
that
like
shit's been dead since then.
yeah, like Progress is never going to be the same. Like ICW is never even the same, and that wasn't that amazing to begin with. But even ICW can't get back to
But they
what they
had
were.
something. They had
Yeah.
like a certain vibe to them. They had some, like a feeling
Mhm.
that they have lost.
So
Yeah, so it's, yeah, obviously a no want, a
no,
no go
no.
for us.
Ultimately, I don't think partnerships like this ever really work anyway. Pro
Mm,
wrestling history is filled with them just going badly for everybody. um, and in this case specifically, there's no way this can be an even partnership because one is $1 billion company and the other brags about making a couple million a year.
yeah,
Like WWE makes that in a week. You know what I mean? So you cannot have an even partnership there. There is one dominant party and one not so dominant party, and that just can't end well in my mind. So yeah, I would
it's
rather
also,
Stardom kind of
it
stay
would
out of it.
not it would not really benefit Stardom in many ways, because like I don't think there's any benefit of sending a Stardom wrestler to wrestle on NXT. You know what I mean? Like
No,
they
no,
don't
you're
even
just
really have that to it. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, and again, I hate to compare it to AEW. I've talked about AEW too much on the show already, but there is some small benefit to having a wrestler. If they're in America, they could wrestle on Ring of Honor, right? Like the Utami thing.
yeah,
Oh, they just have an extra rep that they could do in America, just easily because whatever. I don't think there's that same benefit in working with WWE, because it's like it's very uh isolationist otherwise. WWE is. You know what I mean? Like it, if Stardom was in a deal with WWE, there is no like Stardom event in America. Like that doesn't happen. Or
no,
there is no, Utami doing GCW. Like, and those small things are cool, I think. Like that's a better thing for Stardom, is just kind of setting their peeps to go to America for a couple weeks and wrestle a bit. Like it's probably a uh you know better for their roster than any type of partnership with WWE would be.
yeah, but no, there's no guarantee that would be the way it happens. But I don't know. I'm not panicking about it. I really don't see a benefit for WWE unless they like really want some of these wrestlers. But I feel like if they wanted them, they'd just sign them anyway. So
Yeah, I mean,
what are
Io
you gonna
Shirai
get?
loves contract tampering. I don't know if y'all know.
Yes.
It's her favorite thing to do. So it's like it's not hard.
No, not at all. So I mean, she was just here. There was a picture of her with Rossi and Mayu.
Yeah,
So no, it'll
they
happen.
they they go home for Christmas every year. I'm pretty sure. The
Yes.
Japanese talent.
Yeah, I would imagine most do. Yeah. That's that one. I don't know. It's nothing to panic about just yet. I can't see many positives coming out of it, but who knows? If it happened, we'd have to wait and see. But the precedent is these don't work. Um, so it's just that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of dreading this All Japan partnership as an All Japan fan currently.
I can
Uh,
imagine.
yeah,
Do you think
that
people know that AJW worked with WWF at one point? It
they have
almost led
to.
to them. They were legitimately going to poach peak of her powers as a Kong. Like that
Yeah,
was WWF had a partnership with AJW, put them on Survivor Series, and tried to sign top big star Azure Kong right
I
out
mean, I
from
think
under them.
everybody knows that Chaparita Asari match on Raw. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's
The plan coming out of that was to sign Aja, and
mhm,
then they scrapped the division. I'm pretty sure, or they were like
they did.
worried she'd kill people. um, but
They
yeah,
they
they
scrapped the division, and that's why Medusa did the spot on WCW.
yes, oh yes, yeah.
It's
So
because they didn't like this belt no more, so I don't like it either, and then they dumped it.
we do have precedent of WWE working with Joshi companies, and well, we saw how that went because they signed Bull and then tried to sign Aja. So you know, it's
And
not
then
ideal.
discarded them like trash.
Yeah, and all they got in return was a WF title match on Big Egg that nobody remembers happened. So it's chill.
Yeah.
Um,
Where Medusa was strangely named Alundra Blaze, and it didn't really.
yeah. Actually don't even remember that match, and I know Blaze and Bull had good chemistry, but I couldn't tell you a single thing about
I
that
think that was one of
Tokyo
their
Dome
weaker
match.
matches, as far as I remember.
Probably. Bull was probably not about it. Was sitting around for
Yeah.
10 hours waiting for her match. Um, I think the last thing to kind of look at is that Stardom announced a new debut, kind of in weird fashion. They tacked it on at the end of or at the start of a press conference that they did. They just did a couple promos. It was very strange thing to do, but they announced that rookie called. I actually didn't watch it. I assume it's Rian.
Rian.
Yan. Okay, because I
Like
know they
like
don't really do
Moran,
the
but
I. I know they
Rian.
don't do the I sound in Japan. It's usually E. So yeah, Rian.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get it when she debuts. It's fine.
Rina,
Um,
Rian. It's just the last.
and yeah, she's the pink-haired rookie that people have
Mhm.
noticed because pink hair kind of sticks out when you're seconding. I believe she said that she was meant to debut with um the last two, Rana and Carrara, but
Yeah.
she was hurt and had to postpone it. They didn't give us a date for her debut, so we don't know when
Oh,
it is.
I think they did. I think it's the core. It's this month. It's
The 6th?
like it either the 6th or like yeah, it'd be the 6th, I think.
Well, we can like double check that
I'm pretty sure it
depending.
is the
No,
6th.
they did three
They
separate news
announced a few
stories.
things.
They did. Well, they didn't announce it. They just said, "Hey, cut promos," and that was
Yeah, but
really it.
they also said like, oh, there's gonna be battle royals to decide the next challengers.
That they
Uh,
did. Where was that?
that was at the presser
That's not
too.
on the
Rossi said
schedule.
it. Uh, I apologize, everybody. We are not prepared.
Well, they didn't tweet it, and I feel like that's that's what I would look to is for them to tweet it. I don't see it in a news piece either. That's what's throwing me off. They usually go
uh,
based on the news.
I will have it in a moment. I
Okay,
know
that's great.
he
I
posted
don't
it.
remember what you were talking
Um,
about. They did announce some stuff, but not on any of these news reports. So,
yeah, it's not here either.
oh, because you know what happened? They deleted that, didn't they?
Did they?
Yes, because Scott, I think, was like, "Oh, they've announced Rossi announced these battle royals." I went to look at the tweet he was quoting; it was gone. So I think they took it down.
Oh. Uh,
Yeah,
well, in part because I think that it was worded very weirdly.
mm, it
Because
was.
a lot of like English sources, I found the tweet from Himanshu Doi, right?
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people were like, "Oh, they're going to do a New Year's Rumble on February 4th to determine the next challengers at Osaka." February 4th is the Osaka show, like the big Osaka show.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't make sense.
Mm.
So, but that's everything I saw. Like everybody was saying that, and I was like, "But that is the big show. Like that is the show that they are building to. I'm pretty sure. So
It's
like how would that work?
yeah,
Unless this is not in Osaka.
yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it's in Osaka. It is. Like so
I,
like I think it was very confusing to a lot of people. So they might have just
mm,
taken it down.
yeah, I do remember what you were talking about, but I do think they took it down, and I don't think they've posted it again.
Mm.
So we're just kind of lost. But yeah, they did announce like some tags, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
for
the Korakuen show I think will be the four rookies, which includes Rian, and that's her debut match. I don't know. Everything is telephone right now for some reason. Um, you know those management problems we were talking about. They're still kind of around, but you know, gotta give it time, I guess.
it. It's the holidays, you gotta.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's weird that they don't have that on any of the news reports because they do have transcriptions of all of the promos, but none of the thing about the announcements. So yeah, I think they pulled it. That's why.
yeah.
Because
Rossi's
I
entire thing is
saw
just not here.
Scott do it. Yeah, like I saw Scott talk about it, and then it was gone like straight away. So who knows? Maybe they're changing their mind. But if not, then yeah, soon enough there will be two battle royals to determine the red and white belt challengers.
Tomoka, Tomoka, we need
Let's hope so.
you. This is your
Mm,
one
They
chance. There's no way you're getting a red belt chance otherwise.
Hey, that's I mean, you're
Well,
right, but you're
she
not meant to
doesn't
say it.
work there. Why would she get
But
a
you
red
still
belt
don't
match? She doesn't
say it.
work there.
Well, you know what? Stop being mean. Um,
Or she could just come out at the end of the battle royal, and say that
okay,
she wants to
okay,
challenge
Dylan.
like Ruku
We,
Umazaki.
we, we, we have to we have to we have to keep going. We've been
Yeah,
talking for like 40 minutes and we're still not
well, yeah,
on the show.
35,
Um,
but who's counting?
last kind of bit of news is that Stardom messed up big time. They did an oopsie. The pay-per-view feed for Stardom Dream Queendom died during the main event, and so they've put that show on YouTube, and they've also announced that they're going to refund everybody who bought the pay-per-view. So, I appreciate that they are rectifying it because the old regime would not have done that. They were not nearly this consumer friendly, I
Forgiving.
guess.
Queendom is on Star World now. So if you have Star World, it doesn't really pertain to you. But yeah, I think they might have taken it off of YouTube by now if it's up on Star World.
Mm,
Uh,
not
because they
sure.
said that they said around the time that like it was only going to stay up for a little bit.
Ah,
Um,
that makes sense.
because it will be available on Star World and it is now. But yeah, like Maika was like crying about it. Like she was really upset because her parents were watching and they were like, "We didn't even get to see it," and she was just like,
That is so sad.
"Motherfuckers!" Like
Yeah, that's
yeah, she was
horrendous.
about to kill some people.
Yeah, I
Her
can't even
her
find
first
Scott's
note, her first order of business as Red Belt champion is killing whoever the fuck was in charge of that feed.
nasty, nasty business. Yeah, I think that's all the news. We might come across more. I don't know. We're recording on a very awkward day because I imagine they will announce up to the next 2 days, but we kind of have to discuss the January 4th show at some point.
Mhm.
So here and now, I suppose we'll just get on to the review because there is only one show for us to
Did you
discuss.
watch Year on Climax just really quick? Because we talked about it last week, but did you watch any of it?
Oh gosh, no, I didn't.
Jesus. Last three matches very very good. Just in case anybody was interested.
Yeah, I've seen some
The
people be like, "Hey, that was I wish I had watched that before Dream Queendom," and I'm like, "Damn, they went crazy
yeah
with the preview tags."
yeah the 9U being back huge. Like 2 days
Mm.
in a row, it's like this is real.
Oh yeah, we can get to that, don't you worry. So the only show to review was on December 29th. This was the JRA Nakayama Racecourse presents Stardom Dream Queendom 2023. This was in Ryogoku Kokugikan, also known as Sumo Hall. They did 3,063 fans, which is smack bang in the middle of their Sumo Hall numbers. So thumbs up, I guess. You know, like a slightly
Jesus
slanted thumbs up,
Christ.
but a thumbs up nonetheless. Oh dear.
My niece is probably throwing things at the ground because she likes to do that.
Okay. Yeah, you got a bit of a fright there.
Yeah. Well, because I'm in the basement and her playpen is right above me. So
Oh
when
my goodness.
she just starts wailing, it's scary.
That's fair. Um, I'm never gonna find this tweet Scott made about the battle royals because he
That's
just
fine.
doesn't stop. He tweets so
Oh
much.
yeah.
Scott, he's not listening, but Scott, stop tweeting. Okay, just stop it. Um, but yeah, look, we just get on to Dream Queendom. The opening match was Azusa Inaba, Yuzuki, and Miyu Amasaki beating Sayaka Kurara, Rana Yagami, and Hanako when Yuzuki got her first win ever in 7 minutes over Sayaka. With
Yep.
it was like a rolling arrow pin,
She did the most
like the side.
elaborate crucifix.
She did.
Because
I
she
think the
did like
goal was meant to be
7
that it was
rotations.
reversed. Yeah, I think the idea is it was reversed, but I don't know.
It didn't look like Kuro was doing nothing. She was just along for the ride.
Oh,
You know what
okay.
I mean?
So it's like the
Like,
Manami roll, because Manami and Toyota did the same. She would like roll
yeah.
around in a circle and then pin them.
Oh, well, that's like that's a thing. That's the around the world.
Yeah,
This is just I don't know.
it is
She's kept going.
it is more awkward, but I can see the
Yeah.
revision. It
Yes.
seems like
Yes.
it's
I
meant to
guess
be
you
the
could say.
Manami thing. Um, I enjoyed this.
That's
This
fine.
rookie class is so good. Like I don't know how they did this, but the jump from Lady C to these is just so big, you know. And TJPW I thought was gonna have the best rookie class because their new rookies are all ridiculous. But Stardom's catching up. I mean,
Everybody's rookies are kind of. I mean, Wave has new tag team champions there, in their rookie years, and they're really fucking good for being in their rookie years. Azusa, as we're going to talk about in this match, is insanely good.
mm,
And yeah, TJPW's rookies. I watched some of that tournament, the TJPW rookie tournament.
oh
They
yes,
are like they are quite good, like a
mm,
lot of them.
mm.
Uh,
Runa
and yeah,
Okubo is
now
the
we're here.
future. Runa is like the one. That's I'm
Yeah,
pinning all my hopes
Runa's
on her.
Runa's good. I really like Himawari.
Oh yeah, she's from Actress Girls as well.
Oh, is she?
She
Oh, yeah,
debuted
she
in
is. I knew that.
Actress and then
Yeah,
jumped after, like, her first match. So,
as you
it
do.
was yeah,
But yeah, I think
I
she's
kinda
sick.
are.
There are a lot of great rookies right now in
Mhm.
the Joshi world,
I think for
and here's
Stardom,
6 of them. Well,
like, for
5.
Stardom, it's that, for some reason, they got a reputation for being really bad at training, and then
Mm.
they produced Lady C. Again, I like Lady C, but her debut was very rough. You had Miyu
Time her debut,
Amasaki.
just like her first like year. You know what I mean? Like 'cause
Yeah.
her debut, it was like okay, I can see what she's kind of going for, and then she just did not improve for a year.
It was rough. And then you had Miyu Amasaki, who was fine, but was certainly not on the level of a lot of rookies from the scene. And then now you have this crop of 5 or 6 who, yeah, you're just like these are all really good. So the tide is rising. Um, we got to see a bit more of everybody. Like I thought
Hmm.
Carrara did stuff here that I didn't see in her debut. That
Yes,
springboard arm drag is nuts.
that was it.
That was
That
really
was it.
good.
That was like
Um,
when I was like, I see you.
hmm.
I see what you're cooking with.
Yeah. Rana and Azusa squaring off was so natural. Rana just gets it straight away, like just understands it immediately,
Yeah,
and is already throwing kicks with the best of them. So we like that for Rana. And yeah, Yuzuki is just insane. um, and they like Yuzuki. No surprise there. She
yeah.
got her first win after 3 matches, which is that is
It's
like
been more than 3 matches, but yes.
yeah,
She
well,
had like
it has it.
8.
Oh, yeah,
She
I
had like
suppose.
8 in like a week. Remember? She's had the
Yes,
gauntlet ran at
poor
her.
thing, the poor girl. Um, yeah, it doesn't often take a month to get your first win. You're talking like Sai Kamatani, Utami. they were the last people that I remember winning that
Utami
quickly.
got her first win over Tam Nakano in like 3 days, but yeah,
Yeah. Sayaka Matani took about a month because I remember she
yeah.
pinned Andras in Tag League,
Oh
like,
my god,
immediately.
yeah. It
Um,
like Jesus Christ,
yeah, so Yuzuki
and we
is
wonder why Andras dipped.
I know. So Yuzuki is in with some very premium territory there. Like you don't give you wins this quickly unless they really like you. So Yuzuki is definitely one to keep an eye on. They definitely established a pecking order. Um,
Mhm.
Rara is clearly like the bottom of the barrel for them.
For
She's
now,
going to
we'll
keep
see
losing.
when Rian shows up
That's
if
true, yeah.
they
And
have her
maybe
positioned
Aya
above
Sakura?
or below her.
Maybe Aya if she ever comes
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Um,
I think Aya will come back. Like I think she's more likely to come back than Komomo because
but yeah, Komomo Minami as well.
she
Yeah,
exists
that's
allegedly.
true. But yeah, Aya was on the 12-hour TV stream, wasn't she?
Yeah,
I think I saw her there.
she's still does like media,
Yeah.
because she debuted, so she gets that right to do like she
Mm.
is a Stardom wrestler. Um, but yeah, so I imagine she comes back because she is a little bit further ahead in that like I don't know, trainees dropping out is such a normal thing,
Mhm.
but like once you debut, it's a bit less. There's a bit more like okay, well now I'm a part of the roster. Uh,
Yeah,
I have some type of obligation to fulfill.
that's for sure. But as it stands, it seems like Yuzuki is the top of the poll for the rookies.
I mean, we'll
Rana
definitely
is
see uh last night with her and Hanako.
definitely. That's what interested me is Kevin wasn't involved in the finish and Hanako not being involved. Um,
Hmm.
Io Misaki being like the senior leader of this group and then not winning this match is really interesting. I feel like that's going to be her thing.
They were really
Is like
quick to give Yuzuki the win. Yeah,
yes,
like when you think
yeah,
about it like that, it's like, oh shit, like Azusa could have won because she's an outsider and she is protected more than
yeah,
most wrestlers in their first year. Um, and Miyu could have won because she's the leader of this generation, basically. But it was Yuzuki who was like,
mm,
as soon as these motherfuckers debuted, they're like, okay, now get Yuzuki beating them, get Yuzuki beating them. Let's go. We need her to
yeah.
beat them twice, both of them in a week.
Yeah, so she's I think Mio's thing is gonna be like combating this new wave. I'm almost certain she's winning the future belt now. Because you can
Hmm.
just do her versus any of these women,
Totally.
Mio Misaki and Rana with Rian, with if again if Aya is around, you can do Aya. Like and then you can have Yuzuki presumably beat her for it. I would imagine Yuzuki doesn't take long to get the future belt. You're not gonna do the long Hanan wait or the Rena wait. You're gonna do it within 3 years. So I
Yep.
would imagine Yuzuki is future champ before long. Um, I like this stuff. People. You can always read so much into the rookies and how they view them and how things are gonna pan out just from like who takes pins, who gets the pin, who doesn't get pinned, who doesn't team with who. Like it's really interesting. Like the fact that Yuzuki and Rana always like at odds basically is something where I'm like, okay, that's a thing, you know. That's something
Yeah,
to
I
pay
can see it.
attention to. So I love stuff like this. It's
Rana
fun.
Rana is like insane the more you read about her.
Mhm.
Cause like as I said last week, she has like 12 years of dance experience, like 8 to 10 years of karate experience. She's in a band. She did Makai. Uh, the other day they had at the show they had a horse, and she just randomly tweeted, "It's like, oh, I like took a picture on top of the horse," and she's like, "I actually have my horseback license. Like I know how to ride a horse." And I was like, "What the fuck do you do?" Like like you just do everything, homegirl? That's crazy. Like she's just like, yeah, I've been an athlete for like 17 years. I do this. I'm in a band. I ride horses professionally. And it's just like, what the fuck? Where did you come from?
It's a
And
free
she also
spirit.
kicks the fuck out of people. It's
Yeah.
great. She's my girl. I like her.
Yeah, her
Yeah, and
eventually
this was a
beating
great fun
Yuzuki
match.
is gonna be so cool. Like that's gonna be something you gotta build up to.
Yeah. I think it was kind of beautiful how short this was. It was only 7 minutes, but
Mhm.
everybody got their time. You know what I mean? Like everybody got something out of this. And I think that's great. I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, they did really well with this. Like I enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, we've spoken about it a lot, so there was just so much to interest us. But that's kind of what rookies do. I think that's why lack of rookies for a while there was so
Dire.
because you're like, these are fresh faces. They're people with whole new stories to unravel. Like, I want more of them. So
And now
and we have it.
Saida can pin someone sometimes. You know what I
Not
mean? Like,
Yuzuki, not Yuzuki though.
no, not Yuzuki, but like,
How long do you think it takes before Yuzuki beats Ida?
I don't want to think about that.
Over under 18 months.
Oh, under.
Okay, okay. We'll have
Unless
to come back
unless
to this.
Ida has some crazy career revitalization, it's definitely under 18 months.
Interesting. You know what they should do eventually is Golden Gen versus this gen. They probably won't, but I think that would be
They
cool.
should though. They should.
Maika, Utami, Ida, Saya just beating the shit out of Rana and Kurara and Yuzuki. That would be so cool. Yeah, they might not do that.
They should do it though. They should do
Should
it like in a few months.
they should do it now. They should just do it
Yeah, they should
today.
do it. They
Yeah,
should do it on the Corkin that's coming up, I think.
exactly.
Mhm.
AphroditE at the peak of their powers, beating the crap out of
Oh
Rana.
my
Give it to
god.
me. Give it to me every day of the week. After that, then we had a four-way tag match. It was
Oh,
Saki
Tam, Tam, Tam,
Kashima.
Tam, Tam time.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot she was on the show because she said nothing. It was like, "Hey, I'm sorry to worry you." She was crying. She looked like she was going to a funeral.
Yeah.
She looked like she was going to retire. I know we say this
Mhm.
a lot, but even Scott was like, "Holy shit, she's gone." Um, and she was just like, "Oh, hey, I'm the queen of the cosmos. I'm gonna come back. Love you. Bye."
And then she got so much screen time for the rest of the show. She
It
was
was
sitting
weird.
ringside.
That was definitely weird.
Um,
Uh, I don't know
yeah,
why
she
she
said
didn't
she'll be
say
back.
this. I was gonna
Go on.
get to that. She didn't say this
Go.
in the ring. She said it after a post-show thing, the magazines, that she hopes to be
Mhm.
back by. She said it was by the time the cherry blossoms are here.
By Cherry Blossom season, yeah.
Yeah, so that's March,
Late
April.
March. Yeah.
So Yokohama Buntai, Tam comeback
Mm.
match.
Mhm.
Thinking, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I don't know why she
It
didn't say that
sucks
in the
because
ring.
like she
That's
doesn't
what
have a
I'm.
lane except for the world title.
I think you do a comeback and it's just a tag. I don't think she comes back
The,
for
it
a
sh- she
big belt.
should, but
Well,
I
here's
think
the thing.
Natsuko might be busy.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're on a very short rope with Maika versus Giulia, so I
Yeah.
think you might have to do Giulia and Maika there, and you really have no other choice.
Oh,
So
either they do it there or in Osaka.
I don't know if they do it that soon, especially if they're talking about two belts. Because now that Mercedes money might still exist, New Japan might want that purple belt on her. So I don't know.
Honestly, at this point, I think they just might give the IWGP back to Mercedes if she does like do dates for New Japan at all.
Mm, I don't know. I feel like it's easier for them to just throw the strong belt on
Yeah, but they're
AWTV.
getting rid of the strong belts.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Tony booking women. Come on. He would just go,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's
I
true.
can just say it's a title match. Here you go." It's like, come on. He would love that. New Japan Strong Women's title? Sure, go ahead.
Easy
That's so
peasy.
him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Tam cut a very babyface promo. I mean, I think it was pretty much like the live crowd was into it. She was like, "Hey, like I was very upset, but you, my adoring fans, really brought me back, and this award I won is for all of us." And yeah, she's an idol. She cut a babyface idol promo. What more can I say?
Hmm.
Yeah, she'll be back within the next few months. Um, yeah, I don't think she really said anything else. There was a post show bit, but um, she did
Yeah.
confirm that she got injured when she hit the screwdriver on Tora, which I mean, duh.
Pretty obvious. Yeah.
Um, that
She
she
did not
didn't have
stand back up
surgery.
after that.
No, said she did not have surgery, which is also obvious because she would be out for a lot longer than a few months if she got surgery,
Yeah.
I'd imagine. Um, she got raw eggs thrown on her or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah.
Love
Tam didn't
love
say much.
translations. Yeah.
Yeah, Tam really didn't say much. I thought we would get a definite announcement of something, but it seems to just be like a "Hey, I'm still here" kind of thing. And then in the post show, she kind of was
Can't let
like,
you
"Hey."
forget.
Yeah. In the post show, it was like, "Hey, I might be back in March or April." So that's that. And then we did have a four-way tag match. Aki Kashima and Ami Sourei beat Saki and Yuna Mizumori, and the teams of Tekla and Mai Sakurai and Hina and Lady C in a pretty quick, like harmless match in 7.5 minutes. Like, there's nothing really to grab onto here because like
Yeah.
there's no stakes, there's no nothing really.
Tekla made it a
Um,
point to beat the fuck out of Saki, which I appreciated.
yes, that was good.
Um, I will say though, the three people that stood out the most are kind of wild because it was Hina, Ami, and Yuna. Because Hina at one point, like she took like a minute and a half to just judo throw everybody in the match multiple
Oh
times.
yeah, that was cool.
Uh, and then the closing stretch was Ami and Yuna kind of beefing it, and I dug that. But
Hmm,
it was a completely forgettable match. I only know that because I wrote down the notes.
that's fair. Um, yeah, I mean, it was harmless. I don't really take note of these matches that don't do anything. But
Yeah,
it was fun for what it was. Despite losing, my Sakurai got in and cut her promo because that's who she is.
that's what
She's
she
getting over.
does.
She's definitely winning Cinderella, isn't she?
I think it's not boy,
Interesting.
and I'm partially
The
saying
fact
that to
that
jinx it. Um,
that's true because the fact they zoomed in on her after Anno beat Mariah as well, it was like, hey, you gonna let that stand by?
which
It
is
was
funny
sort
because
of
they are
interesting.
not faction mates.
They're not, but they were just a tag team. So,
Yeah,
well, I hope that was a clean cut of the audio. If not, sorry, I guess I don't
Alex had to pee.
know. Yeah, uh, you know, tiny bladder over here. Um, yeah, we are on to our next match, which was the Mayu Iwatani Return 8-woman tag. It was Hazuki, Hanan, Saida, and Mayu Iwatani beating Starlight Kid, Fukigen Death, Rina, and Rocca. But Mayu pinned Fukigen with a moonsault in 11 minutes. They gave Mayu the full works here. She came out to
Hmm.
the big match theme. Well, not the big match
No,
theme. Her
not the
her
big match.
solo theme.
Singles theme.
Solo
Yeah,
theme. She had the championship blue and reds on,
yeah.
and
I really like that gear.
it's really nice. And she also got to beat the shit out of an old woman. That finishing stretch with her and Fukian was nuts. Do you remember the German she hit?
Oh
I was
my
like,
god.
Mayu, that woman is like 50. Leave her be. It was wild.
You know how Yoneyama at one point said, "I don't think I want to retire from pro wrestling. I want to keep doing pro wrestling." After
Yeah.
that, she don't want to do pro wrestling no more.
No, I don't
Homegirl
blame
died.
her. It was
Um,
crazy. She hit her with the freedom drop kick as well.
you know, I think it's funny because I think Fukigen Death is like run its course as a character, but for some reason Mayu still gets the best out of it. Oh, every time. Um, the clown literally got like multiple visual pins on Mayu. Like Mayu was not kicking out of a lot of the clown's offense, and like she needed to be saved. And I found that so funny. Uh, this match wasn't like insane or anything, but it's just kind of a reminder that like wrestling is better with Mayu in it.
Hmm.
She's the highlight of a generation of women's wrestling, in my opinion. Um, and it's just like just seeing her do her shit is one of the most fun things in professional wrestling. She is so good. And again, this was like a serviceable match. This wasn't even like Mayu on her shit. You know what I mean? Like she
I don't
gave
know.
it
She
her
she was kind of on her
she
shit. I don't know.
she okay, she was on her shit, but it wasn't like Mayu has like seven more gears past this. This was
It's
just
true.
still insane. You know what I mean? She was still like fucking killing it. Uh but she's so she's just an infinite wrestler. You know, or she just can compound on everything and she can always be better and she is better. You know, like she's so good. Mayu's so good. She
She's the
like I said,
best.
the best of a generation.
Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss her goat case eventually someday.
If
But
if
gotta leave it.
she knock on wood keeps wrestling for like, you know, 3, 4, 5 more years and continues to be at like a high level, I think it's kind of hard to argue against her in a lot of cases. You know, like outside of like the tippity top, the Danielsons, the Chagusas, it's gonna be
Yeah,
fucking
yeah. She'll
hard to
she-
argue
she'll
against
never
the
be
Mayu.
those. Yeah, nobody can be Danielson. To be fair, he's pretty
That's because
wild.
Danielson's been wrestling for like, you know, 20 years and has
Yeah.
mastered every style of wrestling, basically.
No, the people like him and Aja are just so far
Yeah,
ahead of
or Aja.
literally everybody else
Yeah.
in the world.
But
But
like
yeah, she's
Mayu
gonna be up there.
again, if she's around for for a decent amount of time from here, uh she's gotta be in the conversation eventually.
Mhm. For a couple more GPs, one more
Yeah.
world title run. Just let it go crazy.
God willing.
And we got an all timer on our hands here. But yeah, no, this was I enjoyed this, and it was largely just because uh, May hasn't been gone long, but Jesus, do you miss her? Like
Yeah.
she's just so good at this. And fair play to Fukigen. I mean, she does not have to do any of this. She's been wrestling for as long as I've been alive. She's one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. She's
Mhm.
an innovator. Like she did not have to do this, and she let Mayu beat the shit out of her. Like fair play to Fukigen.
I
I hope
also
they give
love
her a bonus.
I love the barb spot where Death
Oh,
like
that was
somehow
yeah.
just configured them so that the referee would hit a bulldog on Mayu and Hadan just starts yelling at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Love
Oh
it.
man, it was so good.
They're the best. Kid challenged Mayu to a singles match after, which she's
Get in
done like
line.
3 times now. And yeah, I don't know
You'll
what the
get
story
yours
is.
in the next GP, homegirl. Okay.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna bring this belt into circulation more. Now that there's brand synergy or whatever you want to call it between Tanahashi and uh Okada Young boy. I don't know what we're gonna call him. I can't
Taro.
say just Okada. Taro, yeah, Taro Okada. Maybe they actually remember they have this belt a little bit more. Because you can just do Mayu Kid and wherever you want, really.
Mhm.
Or maybe they do it at Yokohama. I don't know. I don't know how many matches they're gonna do at Yokohama because they have a lot to do. But you could save it for there if you wanted. But we'll have to wait and see there. Do you have anything else on that match or
No, not really.
no?
I mean,
All
like
right,
Stars was good, like they usually are. They have like
of
kind of
course.
a pretty standard uh showing, but Hazuki Hana and Nita are always good. So
Mhm. All right. The next match then was a special 6-woman tag match. We had Yu, Nanai Takahashi, and Azumi beating Mei Sarah, Mina Shirakawa, and Suri. Nanai pinned Mina in just under 12 minutes with the 1 second X. Um, I mean, this came out of nowhere because Mina was not really doing a whole lot going into this show.
hmm
She doesn't have a faction, so she's been teaming with randos or doing 3 ways in the opener. And she said, "Not today, son." She took the bull by the horns in this match and made herself the talking point. Because
I
her and
really wish
Seven Up,
Mina had a tag team partner.
oh my god! Imagine Mariah was still here. Imagine we got
Yeah,
Rose
like
Gold and Seven Up. Like the mountains would be moved, families would be fed. Oh my god,
yeah,
that was
and again,
man.
no respect to Waka. I mean, obviously she's injured indefinitely, but like no respect to Waka. But it's just like if Mina had like a reliable, like semi-protected, like Mariah or like even Unagi back in the day, if she had like a tag team partner, a tag team, she'd be she'd be on her shit right now. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I've always brought up about these post tournament or these post title reigns, right? Is that it's like you kind of need a tag team partner to keep you afloat. Um, and like I think that's where Mina has kind of suffered is because she just doesn't.
Well, her tag partner did get poached, so
Yes, that's what
she tried. She recruited a white woman. She went to Britain and found its finest, and got abandoned.
she
So
got
it's
poached before they even won the tag belts. That's crazy to think about.
yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, that's so weird. But yeah, no, I had no idea what to expect from this match, and then it just turned into Mina getting absolutely roughed up by you and Nanai Takahashi. Like
hmm
they were taking it to her, and she was fighting back. Um, that little stuff like that just makes the matches better because it's like, okay, we're actually doing something with this.
You
Because like
started doing like a standing violence party, which you usually do in the corner. She
mhm,
started like throwing. I was like, holy shit! like they're just walking and she's just killing her. It was crazy.
it was great. And I mean, all 6 wrestlers are good, so everything was
hmm
good. But it was those like active, like, hey, we're gonna kill each other spots with Mina and Seven Up that really took it to the next level. And that's the kind of stuff I like about Mina. She really does kind of endeavor to get herself to be the conversation. No, I mean she wasn't meant to win the white belt, but she cut promos that were so good that they had no choice but to go with the fans. And now you have something here where could have been a nothing 6-woman tag that nobody remembered, and she said, "Nah, not today, son. We are gonna go at it," and made it into a match with actual purpose because now you can just do any form of Nanai and you versus Mina, and it's gonna be like a heated match.
I think this match made me want God's Eye Mina Shirakawa a lot more than like anything. Like, cause Mina and Shuri were running some routes, and I was
Mm.
like, "Oh man, if Mina leans into that side of her, that could be interesting." Um,
Yeah,
'Cause
there'd be a
inside
bit
of
of a
Mina there are
conflict
two
there, though.
wolves. Inside of Mina there are two wolves.
Yes.
There's the Shuri of her, and there is the Tam Nakano of her. What does she
God.
decide?
Yeah, her and God's Eye would be cool, but I feel like it would throw things off too much because that's kind of the Konami slot, really, isn't it? Like that's Konami is
Yeah.
Siri's partner in crime, basically, and so you'd have like Konami being shoved down a bit more.
Yeah, and God's Eye is
Um,
already pretty low, like pretty jam-packed.
yeah,
You kinda
like you'd
forget
have
how many people are in
four
God's Eye.
four people essentially that never get pinned with Ami as well,
Yeah.
unless they pushed Ami down a bit, but
Which
you
I have
know,
a feeling they probably will do a little
who
bit
knows? Maybe
more.
she did
Uh,
lose the tag the other day, didn't she? So
but she
maybe.
did win here. So,
That's true. That's true. But yeah, that was interesting. I like Mina constantly picking fights with people she will never be able to beat. Like when
it's
she
so
went to
real.
dump, when she went up to dump and was like, one more, one on one. I'm like, you were never beating Dump Matsumoto. Like that woman has not taken a pinfall in 20 years to anyone other than Chigusa Nagayo. It's not happening.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how you feel about this. I think, and I've always been very much vocal about my disliking for the hate Nanai gets, especially in like the past few years. Like the Seven Up era of Nanai is just like if you talk shit about her, I just think you're wrong. Um, but I think this was a pretty tasteful loss for Mina, all things considered. Like
I
obviously,
mean,
it would be better if she didn't take the pin
mhm,
from Nanai,
yeah.
like, obviously. But I don't think it was like, I've seen Nanai bury people.
Yes.
And she
Yes.
this was a respectful this was like a she fought her hardest and Nanai just happened to hit her big move and won. Because,
Mhm.
you know, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you lose wrestling matches. Who would have thought? Like I felt like this was a very tasteful loss for Mina, even though a lot of people will 100% doom about it. Because obviously someone like you who's a big Mina fan does not want to see Mina losing in a undercard tag match at the second biggest show of the year. I get it. Like that part of it will never change. Like that part of it does suck. But relatively to like how a lot of people I've seen have reacted, it wasn't like Nanai like fucking buried her or killed her. Like she just won the match. And it was a great match.
Yeah, this is better than her being invisible. Like
Yeah.
I would rather her get the shit kicked out of her by somebody who's great than just not be involved in anything. Um, this is Mina's thing. She literally like had her face broken and managed to turn it into a promo that got her the white belt. Like that's who she is. She is going to lose, and she's going to cut promos about how she never wants to give up, and she's going to keep fighting, and people are going to stay on side, and that's it. Like not all losses are created equal. Sometimes you can lose and it's fine, or sometimes you could
Mhm.
lose and it makes you even better. So yeah, Mina's in a spot where she can just cut the babyface underdog promos time and time again. People are gonna get into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you stand up to Nanai, who has been protected in Stardom, who has the credibility of a former 3WA world champion. No, that's enough to
Isn't
make
she
you
the
look good.
only person to win both red belts?
Um, yes, yes.
I believe
No
so.
other
Yeah.
AEW wrestler has held the red
Yeah.
belt, so it would
She's
only
the
be.
only yeah, she's the only person to hold both red belts in Joshi history.
Hmm.
Uh like that's a like I think we forget how like even though AJW wasn't AJW by the time she was like a killer over there. Like I feel like we forget how legendary Nanai is. And how good she still is. Like I don't know. I'm always here to defend Nanai. Um I was talking to Widescreen about it. I was like, it's funny because like I feel like I hear Nanai getting louder reactions than like half the roster. I don't know where this like idea that like she's deeply unpopular comes from. Especially like today, like in the past few months, like since the passion injection stuff. Like I don't like she's just really good, but that's enough Nanai propaganda for me. Uh Azumi did well. I think Azumi's a great third man in trios matches. She kind of like melds into what uh is needed. I love Nanai and Azumi hit a power and glory, but with a foot stomp, which is like the superplex. Then the second guy comes in
Mhm.
uh and does a dive. I thought that was sick. And yeah, I just really like this match. It was one of my favorite matches of the night, in fact.
That's a lot. So either you did not like the tag match or you just really like this. But I
Oh,
guess we'll find out now.
oh no, this is like realistically, this might be my favorite match of the night. It
That
wasn't
is absurd.
because the moment at the end, but like because of Micah Suzu is like different. But
Hmm.
like as a match, top to bottom, I fucking adored this match. Go on, introduce it.
All right. So the next match was the Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Saya Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita retained when they beat Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora in 16 and a half minutes. They basically did a double pinfall. Saya and Utami both won the match, which was kind of interesting. And yeah, I thought this was great. They chemistry is just there. Especially
Yeah.
with Momo and the Queen's Quest wrestlers, like Momo and Saya was so seamless. Um, Anything with Momo and Utami, or even just the duos going at it, was seamless. And then they finished it with playing into Utami's strengths of powerhouse, because her and Tora is just great. They're just athletic, agile powerhouses, and they just work so well together in that aspect. So you had like every part of this match functioning well. You also just had a really obvious story of heels being heels and AphroditE wanting to get some revenge because Momo and Tora have been a thorn in their side for forever now, and so there was a little bit of intensity, a lot of fluidity, a lot of hard hitting stuff. Like it was just a really really well done tag match.
Yeah, I loved this. I thought like I was so excited to see what a modern Aphrodite like tag team title matches.
Hmm.
And I was so happy. I was so happy with this match because I think that was something that kind of always you always could see how good Sai and Utami as a tag team could be, but it always felt like they kind of leaned too much on the single stuff. Like it was two singles wrestlers in a tag team match. I feel like they completely like got it. Like they still do that. Like the first part of the match was Saya versus Momo. It wasn't a tag team match. Second part of the match was Utami versus Natsuko. It wasn't really a tag team match. But in key moments they like really focused on the tag stuff throughout, right? Like it was mainly Saya and Momo, but then they'd come in and they do like I thought that it was so seamless the way that like the Aphrodite formula has progressed since their last tag reign that like I was saying, oh, I hope they keep the belts for a long time because I think they could both use a little bit of time out of the main event scene, and I think it could be really fun to kind of see where they're at. Now I'm like, I need that because I love how they work together in 2023, 2024. Like I loved this match. I thought this match was like yes, like I got Aphrodite, and I was like, I need this to be the thing for a while,
Mm,
because again, they've always been good. I've always liked their tag team stuff, but it just feels like they have a full understanding of what they are as a tag team now. And obviously, against Natsuko and Momos, people who are there clearly very comfortable wrestling against, like I think it's obvious that it's like, oh, this is like a perfect scenario for them to kind of show what Aphrodite can be. There is no weak link in this match because they all work together so seamlessly. Um, so yeah, I loved it. I thought that the way that it was just kind of the flow win, I loved. I loved that about it. But I also loved. I did not want Oedo Tai to win, like because I
mm,
was just like I just didn't really like. I was like I said, I was hoping for a long Aphrodite reign, and I didn't want it to lose. Uh, V1 or V0, whatever. And so the drama of this match, when Momo made the save off the hijack bomb, I was like, what the fuck do we do? Where are we going? Where are we going from here? Kasaya's not tagging back in. Like, what the fuck are we about to do? Because one person hit their finish, but neither of the other team have. What the fuck do we do? And I was just like, I was just so in it. You know what I mean? Um, the mist, the lowdown, the Loch Ness lowdown. Uh, Saya did mess up making the save, but who cares? Um,
Okay, the
Utami got hit
referee
with the
simply
mist,
stopped. It was very funny. He was just
but
like
but
one,
that
two.
was something somebody said. I don't remember who. I think it might have been Scott that said like, "Oh well, like the ref saw the mist and was like, wait a minute, can't just do that." Which is like kind of retconning, revisionist history type of thing. But it's fine. Wrestling happens. I get it. But yeah, I loved near the end when it just felt like I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen. And when they hit both of the big moves, even though the torture rack bomb ain't really a big move for Utami anymore, when they hit their moves and they pinned him, I was like, that was the end to like one of the best chapters in Queen's Quest versus Oedo Tai history. Probably like the second best chapter behind the one where they lost Tam, right? Like this was like this was great. This was a great match, a great finale to that feud that for as much shit as I've given it because I think that it was kind of aimless at points, gave two very great matches. You know what I mean? Gave us two very great tag matches and really solidified Saya and Utami as a duo that, is a force to be reckoned with.
No, they got that defense record in their sights now, like they've been saying.
I am praying that
Um,
they at least get close to it.
hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I was kind of interested because it started to feel like these two factions were just gonna wrestle forever.
Mhm.
And then the finish was so decisive. Like
Yeah.
both Utami and Saya hit their B finishers and won. They just pinned both of them. Like that is a rubber stamp on this feud if you could ever give it one. I thought that
Which
was
is great.
interesting.
I think sometimes you need that. Like, I don't think wrestling does enough of that,
Oh,
with
yeah.
factions especially. You know what I mean? Like, because it is a never-ending story. Ultimately, this is not the last time we will see Oedo Tai versus Queen's Quest, because that's been like the longest running rivalry in Stardom, like by a pretty far margin. Like from 2 months after Queen's Quest was made, a few months after Quest was made, uh, it was Queen's Quest versus Oedo Tai. Like that's been the thing for a very long time.
Mhm.
Uh, but the fact that it just felt like, yeah, like this is the end of this chapter so aggressively. When Utami said that at the press conference, I was like, that feels like famous last words, but she just delivered on it. And I think that's so sick. Sometimes you got to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I'm all for big wins and big defeats and letting it go somewhere. I remember when Natsuko showed up after losing the loser leaves the faction match, and she was just on a rampage, right? And
Oh yeah.
that's just so easy. Like, of course, the heels are gonna get more menacing after losing. Like, it's so easy to just do that, and you can run with it then. Um, this is a total tangent, okay? But
Hmm.
that was one of the reasons I thought Lucha Underground was cool, because people would lose big matches and they would just turn it into something else. They'd be like, "Oh, I lost. Well, screw you. Now I'm gonna breathe fire. How are you gonna deal with me now?" But that
I've
was
gotten upgrades, boy.
yeah, like that's all you have to do is if somebody loses a big match, just like turn it into something bigger or something else.
Make
And
it mean something.
A way to tie should be easy. It should be easy to do that. Just let them go crazy like they did last time. So
I don't
yeah,
know if they can
I love that
anymore.
stuff.
I think like the thing is that them going crazy at that point was them being like, "Oh, we like if it wasn't that for that damn Saki Kashima, like we have been made to look like jerks when we're not, and we know we're not. Now they've been made to look like jerks, and there's nothing they can say about it. So I think
Suppose.
them kind of shutting up and walking away at this point, which sounds like that's what they're gonna do, pretty much. I think that's just like it makes sense. I think they're probably gonna turn this into the God's Eye feud. Like that's probably gonna be where
Oh
they
yeah,
focus their energy because they've been kind of like smally, like uh not very well
Smalley,
building that. Smalley, I'm
Smalley.
sorry. I
That's
couldn't figure out
crazy.
like
That is
very like
crazy.
I can't figure out what the word is still. Like
Slowly,
minutely. Like
I guess.
it's in very small increments that they're kind of
Anything
like,
Stardom does with Way to
oh,
tie subtle or minute, they just kind of are like, "Hey, we want to kill you." That's it.
I think the subtlety comes in the quantity of it, right?
Okay.
The guys I think has only been brought up like 3 times. They obviously all of those times they beat the fuck out of them, like, and it was like, but it's been like what 6 months, and they've done it 3 times. Like
I don't know, to be
they've
honest, but
approached it 3 times, but
maybe.
it doesn't matter. I imagine that's
Um,
where they go. I think they do just kind of hang their heads and walk away at this point,
fair
hoping that
enough.
next time it's different.
Utami dropped a bar after winning. She was like, "Hey, we won this. We won the cage match. It's settled between us. I'm moving on to my next dream." Absolute bar, coolest woman in history. That puts a bit of a close on that. Next match then was for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Giulia beat Megan Bayne in 17 minutes via TKO with a Bonanote submission. Megan's arm hit the ground 3 times, and the referee called off the match. Uh, if
Samoa
we're
Joe and
talking
MJF were
like,
watching some tapes
yeah,
and
if
did
we're
it poorly.
talking match quality wise, this is probably the highlight of the show. This was
Hmm.
crazy. Like this was so
I feel
so
the
good.
opposite.
There is no way.
I I,
This was
I think that like
excellent.
I think the first half of it, I was just like, oh, okay, we're here.
I don't know.
And
It
then
was fine.
I think Megan Bain's performance specifically was
Oh
out of
yeah,
this world.
she
I don't think the
changed.
match itself was as tremendous as a lot of people do, but I think Megan Bain wrestled out of her fucking boots. Like she
Mm,
was absurdly good. But as a match, like I think the draw as a full match minute 1 to minute 15 was a better match than this was, but I think the Megan Bain performance here was one of the best foreigner performances that I've seen in a while. You know what I mean? Like obviously Mariah May had plenty, but
I don't know if
outside of Mariah
Mariah even
May,
touched this. I don't know if she even had one this good.
I think the Mariah May Julia match was better than this.
Well, yeah, but you're talking the individual performance.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Like Megan was so good here that in my review on Voices of Wrestling, I was like, I have not seen a powerhouse this smart since Bull Nakano. Like
Mm,
I compared her to Bull, Awesome Kong, and Aja Kong. That's how smart I thought she was in this
yeah.
match. Like, oh my god. um, yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I loved the way it escalated. It just kept building and building on itself really well. Like Megan having to get more desperate and eventually going to do a moonsault, I was like mind blowing. I love when powerhouses have shit like that they can do, but they only do
Mhm,
it on the rarest of occasions, like Bull did. That's why I pulled out the Bull comp because Bull could do the moonsault. She would only do it when she was pushed to her absolute limits. Um, it's like seeing Bayne do something like that was just like this is a genius we're watching. Like she can do all this shit, she doesn't have to because she just relies on being the powerhouse. So then when somebody like Giulia really puts the fight to her, she has a bag of tricks to dig into. And I love shit like that. So I thought Megan came away from this looking like just the smartest powerhouse I've seen in so long.
mhm.
But Giulia was like a perfect wrestler to go against that. Her being so headstrong and willing to just run at the wall as much times as she needs is just great. Um, I thought they did the Northern Lights bomb stuff really well, like the normal Northern Lights bomb not putting her away, but
Mhm.
then having to do the sick variant. Like I thought that was really well done as well. So I like just the escalation of it all. And yeah, how smart Megan Bayne was with how she paced everything. I thought that it's just so good.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I think it was a very good match, but I, I I do think that like just Megan Bain like was the holy shit of it all. Uh, yeah, she was just
Can
great.
we
I mean,
keep Megan Bayne?
I would like to.
Do you think we could like get Tony to just forget she's on his payroll?
I don't think we have to try.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know.
I think somebody's going to remind him, and then he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, why are you still there? Come back."
Sadly, I think he has
And
been reminded. I think
yeah, I
it
think
looks
this.
like there's a spot for her in a feud right now that yeah,
Wait,
I
what
feel
feud are you
like
talking about?
Willow and Chris, I feel like they're gonna fight Stokely. He's gonna need people.
Is Chris not turning?
She might, but I feel like there'd still be weird numbers. Because where else would you bring Deeb
Yeah,
back in?
that's true. I don't know. Deeb and Megan is a crazy tag team, by the way. Like that,
Oh,
like don't want to talk about that too much, but like Jesus Christ, that would be insane.
I don't tend to like pick on stuff like this, but that's like the most cancelable team ever, just because of who
Oh
they
yeah,
they date.
oh yeah, yeah. No doubt.
Like that's very cancelable. But yeah, no, the talent is off
I totally
the
forgot
charts
about
there.
that with Megan. But
I
you're
know.
right.
Yeah, it's
Oh
kind of
man.
slipped. But you know what? You go, girl. It's fine. You're a kick-ass wrestler.
No,
She's she
you do not go, girl. Not in that direction. The other way.
no, but like in the ring, you go, girl.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Um, yeah. Again, I thought this was one of Meg's. This is again one of the better s- performances of one wrestler, especially of a foreign wrestler, since like in a long time. Let's just say, because I think you're right. I think Mariah May had great performances, but a lot of them were like how much she gave herself to her opponent, almost, and it made it better. This was like, and I'm not saying Julia didn't do shit, but I'm saying that Megan was like the star of this match. Like
yeah, and you can tell
undoubtedly.
because the Japanese fans chanted her to the
Oh,
back.
that was huge.
Like
The first Megan chance that you'll ever in Stardom history, probably. I can't think of any other Megans there
no,
ever. So yeah, like insane. Yeah, the the highlights of this match were insanely high.
mm,
Like I said, I thought that the early going it kind of took a while for me to kind of get into it. I think that's uh where it lost points for me was that I was just
mm,
like, Okay, like can't we just start like we did last time? Because the start to the draw was so good, and it was so just like let's just go at it. Whereas this one was a bit more Julia style,
yeah.
Julia strong style, strong championship style, I should say. And that's where I was like, the first 4, 5, 6 minutes, I was like, okay, let's just like I know y'all can do something. Let's just get to where y'all do something, and then they did.
It's fair. I mean, the fact that this match was so good, it got one of the few vocal reactions on the show says a lot. Because
Oh
Julia
yeah,
got chants. Like Julia was getting them during the match. The crowd is behind Julia, and then obviously they got behind Megan after. And this was a good crowd, but it wasn't like a super vocal crowd. So
I think
for
it's
them
just a
to get
Stardom
behind
issue
both
though.
wrestlers, well, yes, definitely. But for them to get behind both wrestlers to that degree should kind of tell people how good this was. And yeah, I thought their post-match stuff was really cool. Where Julia was like, "Hey, look, I said I'd kill you, but you're still here. You're strong as hell. Let's fight again someday." Which isn't gonna happen because they are going to separate companies. But it is what it is.
Man, a year from
Um,
now, this is a crazy WWE versus AEW match.
yeah, Forbidden Door or
Like, look
something.
when we look
It's
back.
the
No, no, not Forbidden. What?
a Forbidden
No, I
Door,
mean like when we
real
look back
Forbidden
at it,
Door.
Stardom is the Forbidden Door.
Yeah, yes, maybe. Who knows? But
It's not forbidden. It's just before anybody knows.
that's true. But yeah, this was crazy. If this was Megan Main's breakout performance, like
Yeah.
if you aren't, if I'm Tony Khan and I'm not like begging to get her back after a performance like this, I just don't know what he sees in wrestling at all. Um, uh,
He
After
likes
that though,
wrestlers who wrestle like Mildred Burke, but worse,
yes,
a lot worse.
I don't know if
They
this is about
cosplay
Tony
as
or Julia or
it's about Tony. It's about Tony,
okay, could
obviously.
could be about a few of them.
She wrestles like she's from the '50s, but doesn't know what good '50s wrestling was.
That's true, actually. Yeah, she doesn't do a lot of the old school stuff, and there's enough tape out there. Like you could just like
Yeah,
watch Jackie Sato and copy her. Like it would be very easy. But it is what it
that
is.
would be a sick gimmick. If she was like, "Oh, I'm the retro," and she just did a bunch of like, Jackie Sato, beauty pair
Yeah,
moves and shit, and it was just like, "Holy
be
shit."
cool. Somebody needs to do that, but like
Real
maybe I don't know.
better.
But yeah. After that, then we had Trish finally making her challenge. She had a video promo congratulating Julia and challenging her for Battle in the Valley. So that we knew that was coming. She challenged ages ago. That'd be cool. I like Trish. Kind
Yeah,
of
she's alright.
cooled off on Trish. I feel like a year or two
Has a
ago,
vibe.
I feel like there was like a hype around Trish a year or two ago, and it's kind of like faded away a bit. But she's like really solid. That's why I think she gets booked so much. It's just like, oh, if you want to have a
Yeah.
cool match, just Trish Adora's right there. But I feel like she did get lapped by some of the newer people to some degree.
Oh, definitely.
Like I remember when I saw Queen Aminata, I was like, sign her now. Sign Queen
I don't
Aminata
know
right
how
this
she's
fucking
not
second.
everywhere.
People are
Cause she's
stupid.
back, isn't she?
People are yeah,
I
she
know
is.
she was
She's
gone
on
for a
that
while,
page.
but she's so good.
Yeah, like Aminata, I'm just like, why has nobody given her the
And
world?
this isn't us comparing black women. It's just that Queen Amnata is literally like the best wrestler on the American Indies. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah,
she's up there.
sure.
uh but yeah, like I love Trisadora. I think she's great. But I get what you mean. I think she was really like she was hitting a certain stride a couple years ago, and I don't know if she slowed down or if I stopped seeing her as much, or if like I stopped seeing her in like the high roles, the interesting spots.
Yeah. I
But
think the
it
scene
has
just kind
gotten
of
a little bit.
grew around her a little bit and
Yeah,
outgrew her.
yeah.
Because I feel like there's a wave of American women now who are just so much better than what came before, like as a baseline.
Mhm.
Like that Maya World girl that was on Ring of Honor the other week. Like I just saw her in ROW and I was like, she's absurd. Like this is the quality we're getting now in women's trainees in America. So yeah, like people like Adora and her ilk have definitely just been passed up a bit by this new generation who are just that little bit better out of the gate.
Mhm.
Because yeah, there's some really impressive wrestlers at the moment. So people like Adora kind of slipped away. Like Ali Cat, you never hear anybody talk about Ali Cat anymore. Or
She's kind of become a meme
he has. There was this
where
other
it's like
girl who got booked loads, and I can't remember her name. But she's kind of fell away as well. She was everywhere in America, and I cannot remember who she is. Um,
I feel like I know, but I can't give you a name,
no, because
honestly.
she was in Ring of Honor when they revamped it. But
Lady
I don't know.
Frost?
No, she's cool. I like her. I know
Lady
her.
Frost is still around. She's good.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I don't know who it is. I'm sure it'll come to me. But yeah, there's just a new generation that is kind of
I mean,
like,
even like Hyan, who's still very good. I like Hyan a lot, but
yeah,
has kind of taken the back seat in terms of
mhm,
like prominent indie bookings to allow the. Yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, there's just new wrestlers who are just
Which is
better, I
funny
guess.
that this kind of is telling that it's like New Japan is like just barely behind the curve. You know what I mean? Like they're getting all the
Yeah,
great wrestlers from a year ago.
that's fair. Although they're training some of them as well. So
Yes,
you know,
yes, and
I know
they're giving
they've
academy spots and whatnot.
yeah, because I know Viva Van was there and they like made her good. Yeah, so it's they're trying. But yeah, Giulia and Adora should be cool. The next match then was a Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Saori Ano beat Mirai in just under 25 minutes with what the website says is a Japanese Ocean suplex hold, which
It
is
was.
obviously a nod to the Minami Toyota, um, which is kind of strange.
Honestly,
Ano
I will
putting out a
say
Toyota
Hano
move.
hit it better than Minami did in like the peak years of her using it. Because I remember when
Uh,
we watched through VTG, she would always just like I don't know if it was the person selling it or if it was her. It would always just look like you. You should probably do a different move. That's why she started doing the ocean cyclone suplex more,
yeah.
was because it just kind of looked bad. So Anna did it. It looked good. It looked better than a lot of the times I've seen Minami do it. I'll give her that.
That is true. Pulling out a Manami Toyota move is so out of nowhere. Like she's not even an Ice Ribbon trainee. She's actress girls. Like if she was
Yeah.
Ice Ribbon, I could maybe see it because that's like Toyota's. No, she
If I
works
had a
for them.
nickel for every time a Minami Toyota move won a major championship in Stardom, I'd probably have a few nickels, but I can think of two, and one of them she was not happy about.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the. It's crazy. The
Well, you know
Queen's
about the Queen's
Landing.
Landing.
Yeah. But yeah, this I did not like this. um, it
This
had
match
all
frustrated me to all hell.
had all the same issues as their last. Like, would you not adjust and learn and change? But nope, just the same slow meandering until they got to the finishing stretch. And yes, the finishing stretch was cool, but if you lose me for most of your match, it's very hard to get me back.
It,
Like I
like I
just
said, the closing stretch was frustrating because it was good. Like that, like that's after
mm,
a certain point. Because I'm the same way as you. After you lose me at a certain point, then it's like it's hard to get me back. But the thing is with that closing stretch, I wanted to be in it. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like if they had built to it better, I would have been so hyped for it. So it was just frustrating. You know what I mean? Where it was like, man, this is so good. Why can't I appreciate it? Because you guys were so shit for the first 17 minutes. Why? It was infuriating. And I think the big issue, and Peps touched on this, I think on Twitter, I kind of echoed it, that is that like I don't know why they refuse to let Mirai just beat people up
Mhm.
and like do heat segments. Like this has been the case her entire reign. And it works sometimes with the Konami who can do the technical stuff and really wear you out and like do it well. It works with a Momo because she's like a heel. But when you're against Ano, it's like we did that last time and it didn't really work. And then they did it again.
Mhm.
And it's like, why didn't you guys just think to maybe try something different? I think that's the struggle of Mirai's reign, quite frankly, is that it's like for some reason she just didn't grow. You know what I mean? Like she didn't present anything new. You know what I mean? Like anything like, oh well this is a it felt very samey all the way through.
Yeah.
Um from Mirai. And it sucks because I like Mirai's base offense. I think Mirai has such great stuff in her arsenal that it's like so weird that it's like why is none of this happening? Why does it feel like nothing's happening until like the last 3 minutes of it? It sucks. But yeah, it was just
Yeah.
very frustrating because I think it could have been great. I really do.
Mhm.
I think this small tweaks, and again, like if you because Mariah getting the comeback, it was already too late. It didn't feel like anything. Uh, if Anna was the one getting the comeback, especially since she's the one who won in the end, like it would have been so cool if it was Mirai Ano instead of the other way around, which was Ano Mirai. Uh, you know, like
Yeah. And
it sounds very schematics, but it's such a huge thing as a match flow that just completely killed my enjoyment of it the first 15 minutes. You know, like it's a shame.
yeah, I mean, or Anno should probably be doing better at a lot of that stuff. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
she's very experienced. She's had 2 world titles to her name already. Uh, she does heel work in Oz Academy. Like, you know, controlling a match should be right up her alley, and it kind of is because she did in the GP. Like, she had good
Mhm.
matches in the GP. It just didn't work with Mariah at all. Um, they're probably just 2 people who don't work together. Because yeah, they have some of the same trappings, I guess. Yeah, just the start is just way too uninteresting. Like nothing at all happens until you start throwing bombs, and that's cool. But you're like, okay, but the rest was nothing happened. Like I was asleep until now, so it's hard to really. Some people are like, oh, this is a great match. The finishing stretch was cool, and I'm like, yeah, but if like 20% of a movie is good and 80% is not, that's not a good movie, you know.
And that's the thing is
Um,
that it's like I think this was like also pretty uniquely underwhelming because I've seen great matches where it's like, okay, the first 10, 10 to 12 minutes was like pretty mediocre, but the last 15 was incredible. And it's
mm,
like, okay, or even so, like I've seen matches that were like all right for the first 15 to 20 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes was just like insane. And like there are levels to it. It felt like the first portion of this match, first 15 minutes, was so like it decentivized me to like invest any more in the match, if that makes sense. I was like, okay, like when's
I kind
Micah
of grew
Susan?
apathetic towards it. I was very much
Yeah,
just like, can you
exactly.
please end this match now?
Like there are
um,
some matches where it's like I was kind of look past if the opening stretch is like fine, I'll just be like whatever. I was fucking zone out for a little bit, and then it gets good. But like this wasn't just the opening stretch. This was a lot of the match.
they left it late to really get it back.
Yeah.
It just didn't really work. So I don't know. I don't like the pairing at all. This seems to be the favorite match on Cage Match. Is
I
last I
imagine the
checked.
main got fucking, like, bombed because it was too highly rated.
The main was just I don't know about the main. Oh, the main is overtaken it now.
Okay.
And yeah, Anno and Mirai is on 8.19. Just it's fair enough, I guess. But yeah, I would be Oh
I
gosh, I
wouldn't
would
have
be
that
a lot lower.
above Julia Bayne or like
No,
the Goddess
the tag title
match
match.
having a 7 is insane. Like
Yeah,
I get
that's
that
weird.
it's not everybody's cup of tea, but like like compared to like that was one of the better matches. I don't know. I don't get cage match.
Sometimes, yes, I'm like, I don't understand you, but hey, it is what it is. Um, yeah, I didn't like this. I don't like the pairing. I like both of them though. Like Mariah's had cool matches. Siriano is probably 2023's Joshi Wrestler of the Year. Like she was incredible.
In terms of
Um,
consistency, she's definitely up there.
and yeah, they just don't work. It's just there was too much nothing. By the time you start doing stuff, I was like, I don't care anymore. Just finish it.
This was the
Just end the
longest
match.
match on the card, and I'm just like,
Yes.
why did we have to do
It
that?
felt like it was 45, honestly. At some points, I was like, dude, just put this torture to bed, please. But
Which is another thing, like, and I think this is the difference between this match and the main event. Is I often it's one of my favorite like proverbs or like sayings. I think it's a Japanese proverb, in fact. That is that it's like you never swim through the same river twice.
ooh,
They just swam through the same river twice. That is the issue with this rematch specifically. It was the same match except 6 minutes less. I think Micah and Suzu changed it enough to where I was like, okay, like this is different. Um, they tried to swim through the same river twice, and it doesn't work like that. You can't
yeah.
do that,
Anna
especially when it's
winning
a
was
month after. You know what
yes,
I mean? Like that's so soon. You can't be giving me
as
the
that it
same
is.
thing.
But Anna winning was a surprise. I
Oh
was
yeah,
quite shocked. Because as I said last week, like I wouldn't have put it on her unless I was going all in on Siriano, and she had confirmation that she was signed.
they're
That's
going in
when I
all
would.
in on Natsupoi.
Yeah, it seems to me that's where it's going because Natsupoi was here for this, and she like very visibly was like, I kind of want the belt. Um, so I think you've got maybe a Tam match if they want it, because Tam was also shown a lot and she was involved. You can do Ano and Tam, but yeah, I feel like Ano and Poi should be the end result and will likely be an ideal end result because that will probably kick ass. Thought they did good enough with a strap match earlier as well. Like stipulation really dragged them down, but they did well. So
They have a good match in them, undoubtedly.
yeah, like an excellent
I
one.
think,
So of
but I think that Azumi should beat Ano because shouts out ex-military. That's what it's all about.
course. But yeah, I'm excited for an Anno reign. I mean, it can't get any
As am I.
worse, so it can only go up from here. For Mirai, I don't even know what she does because this is meant to be her big run,
This is a pretty total
and
defeat. Yeah.
yeah, like this is meant to be her big run, and it kind of wasn't. I don't know where they go with her.
Well, Alex, what you know about a three-peat?
Oh God,
What do you know about that?
I think that would actively kill
The
her.
the second she lost, I was like, oh my god, it's possible.
Um,
Because I've been making that joke for like months.
yeah, I think they're setting Mai Sakurai up for that with how she is shown after the match to be
Continue
like
to
very
jinx it. I'm
upset.
begging you. I'm begging you to continue to jinx it.
Well, why else would Mariah
Ano
would
versus Mai Sakurai sounds so shit too, like specifically.
okay,
Like
sure.
Mirai versus Sakurai is like that could have had something to it. I think Mirai beating the fuck out of her. There's novelty to that. Ano versus Mai Sakurai, stay away, please.
Well, I don't know. All I know is she's getting a lot of promo time. They showed her very
Mm.
visibly after this match. She just teamed with Mirai. Seems to me like they're setting up Mai Sakurai versus Soriano. What do I
Maybe
know?
that's the first defense. I could see it. I
Uh,
I I
you
had
might
a
need a bigger
thought
match
that
for February.
you want her to win the Cinderella. That would be the biggest show of the year.
But you're realistically like third from the top there. Be fourth.
Yeah.
Is top two
Oh
in Osaka.
Jesus.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested in an Ano run because I don't really know what they do with it outside of the Natsupoi match, presumably. Um, I
You should
would love
just have
an
all the same
Azumi
people
match.
challenge again. Just do Hazuki and Momo again. That's it. I would like that. I
They
would like to
usually
see
do.
that. Yeah, like that's
Man,
just
Ano versus Suzuki would be so great,
they
but
should do
I
Ano and
might cry.
Hanan. They should do Ano and Hanan.
Oh yeah, that was
Let
good
that
in the
let
GP. That
Hanan
was really good.
let Hanan get some big singles matches under her belt. Yeah. I'm
That
in,
was
I'm
really
into it.
good.
I'm all over it.
I feel like we do this every like week at this rate. Is that it's like there are so many great title matches that could happen,
Mm,
and then they just don't book title matches.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
like 5 a year at this rate.
I like how in the post show thing, Natsupoi or Siriano was literally like, "Hey, Natsupoi, I want to fight you for the belt." Like they did not make it. They're not very shy about that one, huh?
Not subtle at all.
No. I love Stardom sometimes. They're just like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." By the way, just so you
Uh,
know. Um,
I
Great.
know, I know wrestlers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Hell yeah. Want to get on to the main event?
I'd love to.
I don't like being. There's no point in like dragging on about a match we didn't like when we have
Yeah.
this. So in our main event for the World of Stardom Championship, Maika beats Suzu Suzuki in 20 minutes with a Michinoku Driver Symphony to the boyhood dream came true. Maika is the World of Stardom champion. I still can't believe it. All like days later, still doesn't feel too real. Um, I've kind of said this because again I reviewed this for Voices of Wrestling. I didn't give it a rating. Like I didn't give it a star rating. Not that I don't give star
Mhm.
ratings generally anyway. I do for Voices of Wrestling because that's kind of the audience they have there. Um, but like I didn't give it a rating because I don't know if this was a good match and I don't care. I was into it. I was on the emotional
Oh, it was
roller
a very good
coaster.
match.
I think if I watched it again, I would be like, "Oh, that was like worked really well." But in the
Mhm.
moment, I was like, "I don't give a shit. This could be the worst match of all time, and I would still be on the roller coaster, ready to go wherever they take me." So like, this was just one of those rare times where pro wrestling, it's just all together. Like you get a match where there's an unpredictable finish. Both results would have been like fine. Like I would have been happy with either way. But I just really wanted one party to win.
I
I
think
had no
that's
idea when that was gonna
where
happen.
I think that's where the Aphrodite match wasn't better than this match. Don't get me wrong. I thought this match was the best match of the night. But I think that's where I like there's a bit more of that tension in me because I wanted a team to win and I didn't want a team to win. Whereas here it's like I want Micah to win, but I love Suzu. I think Suzu winning would have been cool. You know, I was rocking with
Yeah.
the Suzu
There
title
was
reign.
still, like, the urge to really root for Maika, and I think not
Yes,
having a bad outcome also made it better because there was no fear,
yes.
it was just genuine edge of my seat, "Is she gonna do it?" kinda
And
for the
I
night.
was talking to I was talking on Scott's show with Six Star and Peps and Scott obviously, and like I mentioned that I was like, I didn't know if Michael was winning until she dropped the third Michinoku driver.
Yeah.
Like she was hitting them over and over again, and even when she got her up for the third one, I was like, what if she just slithers out and
Mhm.
it's done? There's like you can't win after that if you're Micah. It's just not realistic. Like, that's just not how matches work, you know what I mean? And I was just like and then she finally hit it, I was like, "Holy shit, we're here. Holy shit," and I was just like I was so excited. It was yeah, it was a great experience. I thought that it was super fun, um, as a match as well. Like Alex said, I think the vibe was the biggest part of it almost, like the feeling more so than like, "Oh, how well was this match worked?" or "How well was this match, you know, laid out? How was the flow and all that?" I think the moment of, like, anticipating Micah's big win was, like, the bigger part of it, but I think the match
Mm.
itself was also quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back, it started well with the forearm
Mhm,
exchange and just went from there. You know, there was no slow start build up. It
mhm.
started in the middle
I
and
like
then
that
only
they
got
called
higher.
back to the final, and
Mm.
then from there immediately, like, diverged off of it.
Yeah, like there was so much interesting stuff to keep you going, even though I don't think Suzu even resorted to doing like big move spam and like big kickouts. She was
It was
just
all
very
Germans.
interesting.
That
Yeah.
was all she did. She did the fucking avalanche German,
Oh, dude, that was
uh,
crazy.
which was insane, yeah, and then, like, close fist punches, but, like, other than that, it was mostly the Germans.
Yeah, like they and she still kept it interesting. Like she
Mhm.
did a really good job on her end. And Micah, it played into Micah's strengths to not do the slow start because she could just like throw her shit, just
Yeah.
lariats and power bombs. Obviously, she did the big callback to Maika, which was
The
just like
concussion bomb.
incredible in the moment. And that near fall with the headbutt was nuts. That was so well done. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember the one I'm talking about. I think she had the
Only
ankle
vaguely.
Toshi straight after. It's like
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah,
headbutt
yeah.
into the
I was
finish.
Oh, I didn't write that down because that was when I wrote down I was losing it for the last few minutes. Holy shit,
Mhm.
what is happening? That was when that happened. Uh, yeah, that was a great spot.
And then, as you say, like the Michinoku finish was really well done because I too was expecting a reversal. When she went for the third one, I was like, oh no, this is too many. She's
Mhm.
gonna screw herself over here, but she didn't. And like this was a great match that didn't follow the usual big main event patterns. They just didn't
Yeah.
resort to like a ton of big moves and big death kill stuff and big 2 count kickouts. It was just blow for blow, two titans clashing in a dramatic fashion, with one of them just eventually putting the other away. Like it was just really well done in that regard, and I thought it was interesting from start to finish.
Mm.
But I probably would have thought that anyway because I was rooting for Micah.
As a big, Taka Michinoku fan, as a big JTO fan, I also really appreciated that she didn't let Suzu kick out of the Michinoku driver number two.
Hmm.
I think that is like super important. And obviously, like I think she said in the interview last week that she was basically told by Taka, if you let just anybody kick out of this move, I'll kill you. Like I will kill you. Like I'm giving this to you, but don't let it don't let anybody like just treat it like it's nothing. Um because this is my present to you, sort of thing. And I think that is beautiful. I think that like the fact that Micah, stuck to it, which it's hard in nowadays. I know not to sound like a back in my day type of thing, because this has always been the case, but I think it's really hard nowadays to run matches like this and not have that big finish kick out. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
that's just how wrestling is nowadays, quite frankly, is that it's just like, it compounds on on itself, as I've said. So if Suzu wasn't gonna hit any of her huge moves, she wasn't gonna hit the Stardust press, she wasn't gonna hit anything like that. But Micah had to hit her big moves and she had to have Suzu kick out of them, and the fear was that I was gonna get a little bit too close to the sun and have her kick out of the Michinoku driver. And I'm happy that she
Mm.
didn't. Uh and that's just a small thing, but I'm obviously a big Taka Michinoku nerd. Both of his trainees, Hayato Tamura, also won in the big year end of Late. So Taka had a good week. You know what I mean? Like his guy and his girl both won big belts, and yeah, I don't know. I love this match. I'm very happy Michael won, um, and I think moving forward, even though we are low on time, and by low on time I mean we were supposed to end 2 minutes ago, and we have plenty more to talk about. I think that there is a very interesting uh, stuff to talk about with Micah when it pertains to Giulia, because this entire
Yeah.
match, if you noticed, Giulia was not in a corner. She was in the middle of the ring, of by ringside. She was just in the middle, like firmly in the middle. And as you start to notice her in the background, you start to notice she's cheering a little bit more for Suzu than she is for Micah. And that all obviously climaxed with after the match, Julia.
For that, I
Go ahead.
think there's stuff to talk with
That's why I was that's
Suzu.
why I was stopping. I
Suzu
didn't know if you
deserves a
wanted
bit
to.
of a Suzu
Oh,
does deserve a
totally.
mention. But I'll just come back in a minute and we can get into it. Okay. So Suzu thing that I think deserves to be like noticed is she kept the Sky Twister press in her back pocket.
Yes.
And she kept a lot of stuff in her back pocket. I think this is a really smart performance by Suzu as well. In that she knows she's going to be red belt champion, and she has shown us a glimpse of this special finisher that will get the job done, and she didn't let it get kicked out of here. Like she can walk away
Yeah, I
saying,
mean,
"Hey, if I
and
hit
that
that, I'd have won."
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Is that's like there is still that uh, you know, that doubt that you can cast on Micah, because it's like, well, Micah didn't take her biggest move that beat her last time.
Mhm.
Uh, and that not so much hurts Micah, but way more protects Suzu. And if they do want to run this back and they do want Suzu to just beat Micah at some point, you know, later down the line in the year, they can do that. And Suzu can win with the Stardust Press, right? Like that is a viable finish at this point. And yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Suzu had a very smart showing. I Suzu's my favorite was my wrestler of the year in 2023. Honestly,
Mm.
I think her consistency was just like absurd. It just didn't stop, right? Like she just and she wasn't even like wrestling consistently for the first few months of it, like on a Stardom schedule. I mean, she was wrestling consistently. I can't say words. She's wrestling consistently, but not on the Stardom schedule. Uh, so she was just the best wrestler. Um, so I do think that a lot of credit needs to go to Suzu, who keeps. I feel like she's kind of this year has kind of been that person who's like, yeah, she's sick, but she's not X, right? Uh, and I think she's just insane. I think there is definitely a lot of praise to be given to her because this was the cherry on top of a tremendous year for Suzu Suzuki.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I feel so bad for her that her big GP win kind of led to things changing, but the Micah train was just too powerful to
Somehow,
stop at the end of the
the
day.
first time in 3 years that DDM OG didn't win the 5 star, DDM still ends the show.
They are insane. They're just the super group. Um,
Oh man.
yes, I like Suzu left a lot in the pocket, and it's obvious she's gonna win the big one eventually. But this was Micah's moment. Just the outpouring of emotion when she won was just that's the kind of shit wrestling was built on. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I feel like people let themselves get away from this, but seeing the person you like win the match is generally how this pro wrestling thing works. And the
Hmm.
most memorable moments in wrestling are always that. You know, people still remember Becky winning the Rumble that time. I remember Bryan Danielson winning the WWE title at WrestleMania.
Kofi winning
I
the
remember
WWE title.
Kofi Mania is
Yeah.
legitimately one of the biggest
That's
things that happened in
one
the
of the
past
greatest
decade.
stories I've ever experienced.
The entire first like 5 years of the WWF going national was built on the idea of Hulk Hogan overcoming people. Like the
Mhm.
babyface winning and the crowd
I
getting
mean, to
that
this
rapturous
day,
moment
I don't know if there's a better feeling than Tetsuya Naito like winning a G1. Like
too.
I don't know if I've
Too.
experienced like a more like I feel like I levitate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like this insane, you know,
Mhm.
wrestling is insane.
It is. If your audience wants something, there's no need to fight them. Just
Mhm.
go with it because that is what people will remember. That is what people watch this for. Is that euphoric moment when groundswell of support ends in a big win, other than what people convince themselves of for a while of like, oh no, you have to to take it away from them. You have to take away from the
Heat,
audience.
Alex. What
Like
like why are we not talking about heat?
nobody remembers any of your fucking heat. The business is built on the baby faces winning. Okay, so yeah, Micah winning was the right decision, and
Yeah.
just this is what pro wrestling was made for. I was so happy after this. I didn't even let anybody annoy me all day. Like I was like, no, you can be as stupid as you want. You are not getting me today. So that was great. Everything about this was fantastic. Um, you know what? I said this privately, and I'm going to say it publicly now. Stardom set a really good precedent this year that if you work hard and you get over, they're not going to stand in your way. And that's a really good thing to tell your roster and your
Mm.
fan base because that makes it easier to invest. If you know that investing in a wrestler and then performing really well is going to get rewarded, it's so much easier to get into things. You're not constantly worrying about who's going to get pushed. Oh, if I root for her, is she just going to lose all the time? Like, no, if people really get behind these wrestlers, they will change plans. They did it for Mina. Mina wasn't meant to win the white belt. They've done it with Ida. Ida got over as fuck in the summer, and they said, "Here, have the new blood tag belts." And now with Maika, they changed their entire red belt plan, their world title plans to give her the belt because she got so over. I think that's a really good precedent to set with the fans and the roster as well. Like I think that's just a good message to send.
Yeah, no, I think that is something I think you're right. Like I think that is a good precedent because that is a struggle in wrestling, right? Is that it's like diverging from the chosen path um is so a lot of people don't want to do it. A lot of bookers don't want to do it,
Hmm.
and I get why. And it's completely. I understand the thought process behind it. Uh, because some people call it, cheap or whatever, which I think is always dumb, right? And I think it's funny or this past year that like the Cody thing happened, where a lot of people were like, "Oh, if he won, it would have been cheap because it would have like there wouldn't have been any." And it's like, yeah, but like it also would have been sick. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I don't like I think I think you're forgetting that part of it. That it also would have been really cool. Um and I think people kind of they get lost in the wrestling sauce and they get lost in what wrestling is meant to be. When, like you said, wrestling is meant to be uh, good triumphing over evil. Not that basic, but ultimately, like that is like the most the oldest story known to man.
Hmm.
Uh, and to some, and I'm not saying like, and obviously it comes in different forms. Suzu isn't the evil necessarily, but that feeling of the person you want to winning sometimes is just enough.
Hmm.
You don't need, it doesn't need to be earned all the time. And I think it was earned by Micah. Don't get me wrong. But like if you perceive any, champion winning the belt, if you think Sonata winning the belt in New Japan wasn't earned, it's like uh, nothing is. It's pro wrestling. like it's just nice to see the people you like win. I think that's
Hmm.
the point ultimately, and you already said that, but I totally agree with you.
It's what works. I mean, I don't know what more
Tried
people
and
have
true.
to see, but I mean, I remember like Progress blew up because they did the Osprey of Havoc, and that was the same. The
Oh
baby
yeah,
face,
I remember that.
like the baby face, like everybody hated Jimmy Havoc, and they wanted Osprey to win. And the first like 20 chapters of Progress got so much acclaim because they built that story over those 20 chapters. Um, ICW blew up and went viral when Grado won their title.
Yeah,
Like it like
I still
stuff like
remember that too.
that's just how this shit works. I'm sorry, that is what people want to see. Ilya Dragunov coming back to WXW made them blow up. Like that shit
Hmm.
went viral. Nobody knew what Ilya Dragunov was up until that point, but they saw that, saw the reaction he got, and they went, "I want to see that. I want more of that." Like, it's that easy. That's just how this thing works. And yeah, Stardom did it. I'm glad they did it, and I hope they keep doing it. Because if you get a reputation of being a company that will go with the audience, people are going to be a lot more receptive to
It is
everything.
now time to brainwash Stardom audiences to chant louder for Hazuki. Uh, she already gets like she gets a pretty decent reaction most of the time. She's in like decent spots, but it needs to get louder, people.
Damn right. Yeah, that was the match, and I think afterwards, to be honest, looking at afterwards, I realized just how much Maika was the right decision because she
Mm,
reeled off names, and I was like, you could fill a Maika red belt run through the GP with
easily,
ease.
especially
Like,
especially with the lessened schedule.
mhm,
There's not going to be like there is only two potential red belt matches before the Cinderella and before
yeah,
Buntai. Or
yeah,
or no, before Buntai, because the second potential place for a red belt match is at the Cinderella final.
mhm,
So like I don't know, it knock on wood, it'll be hard to take this belt off Micah before Buntai, because that's a V1 or a
yeah.
V0.
And I think she made it very clear what the direction is because Giulia did walk off with Suzu. She gave her a hand to walk to the back, and I was very suspicious of that. And Micah during her promo was like, "Hey, 2024 is my year." Tam, Utami, Sai Kamatani. She paused a bit, and Giulia. I was like,
Everybody
"Oh
went,
hell, oh here we
ooh.
go." She said this is the Empress era or the era of the
Mhm.
Empress, which is Beast. And yeah, then she went backstage to celebrate with Maika, which was lovely. I was grinning like a
It was so
dope
sweet.
for
I
the
missed it.
entire day.
I missed it because I had to use the bathroom, so I missed it, and then I came back. I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And then it shut off, and I was like, "No,
That's
no!"
crazy.
I had to like Velke had to like send me the clip like a half hour later because I was dying for it. I was itching for my Mahime content. Um,
That's fair.
yeah, I mean it was a beautiful moment. It
It
was a beautiful
was.
moment.
And Maika already setting stuff up. She's I didn't realize just how much of a wrestling mind she had, but like all of her promos They're very good at building to
Yeah.
things. Like she's one of the few who I'm just like, oh, she gets it.
I mean,
And
she's
that's
she's
always good.
still building to a match that like is definitely never gonna happen with like El Desperado.
Yes.
She's still like in every time she talks, she's like, I would also like to wrestle New Japan guys, by the way.
Mm.
Like just like very quickly. Just like kind of like, oh yeah, since I'm like the world champion, I think that means I could probably beat some of the guys. I don't see why not. I could fight them. Which I think is sick. Like I think something like that kind of sets her apart as like being the only person who's like loud and proud enough to be like, yeah, I want to beat the fuck out of the dudes. Let me. Like that's sick. Like I think that's like a even if it never happens, it's like a well, Micah's a badass. It adds to that appeal.
Yeah, no, she's like a really smart wrestler. And I kind of it really drove it home here because only wrestlers with a mind for this know to do that, to do the pause, and then
Yeah.
name Giulia as like this is the big one. This is the one to pay attention to. So yeah, she really impressed me with that. And yeah, just very happy with that. I love the show. We don't really have much time to go over it, but I thought it was a show Stardom really needed to be like, hey, we're
Hmm.
still good at this shit. Like we are still running laps. Okay, there's nobody doing it quite like this. Um,
Yeah,
'Cause,
very
they
good show.
obviously had a very tough run there. They seem to be right in the wagon and getting things on track.
Yeah, I hope so. I sure as hell hope so.
So we have two shows to preview now. This is my fault that we're late to this. We were meant to record yesterday, but it was New Year's Day. So it was always a bad idea to record on New Year's Day. So the January 3rd show will have already happened by the time this goes up. Um, so there's no point in like going super in depth, and I would imagine we focus more on Ittenyon Gate.
Hmm.
Um, but the show tomorrow does have the Rookie of the Year tournament. So we have Hanako versus Sayaka and Yuzuki versus Rana Yagami.
There's a lot of stuff on this card. Jesus.
There is. It's a lot. I would imagine Hanako versus Yuzuki is the final, and
Yeah.
I am actually tipping Yuzuki to win. I think she's their next rocket strap.
Yuzuki has a roll up. I think that makes it easier for her.
Yes.
At the very least. And I also think that she's just kind of like she's the rookie, right? Like Hanako's gonna be a great hand, and I hate to say that, but Hanako's gonna be a great hand. But I don't think she's who Yuzuki's gonna be.
No, no, and Rossi is never shy about his favorites.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what Yuzuki and Rana can spin off from this because I imagine this is the first of many matches between the two of them.
This is
Um,
one instance where I kind of wish that like seating didn't exist because I think it would be more interesting if they were really forced to show their hand and they ran Hanako versus Suzuki in the first round, so we kind of
mm,
see what these two rookies, the new ones, like really like
I
how
think
they
I think
feel
I
about
think
them.
it's very much Rana over Sayaka
Yes, that's how
currently.
I presume it, but I would like it if they kind of forced themselves to do that. But I also
Yeah,
get why they didn't because it's
mhm,
kind of useless.
fair enough. I don't think there's a
Who do
reason
you,
to go through every Derby match.
well, who do you think is going to win the derby? I think like who do you think the final and who's winning it?
Um, it's either God's Eye or Oedo Tai.
Hmm.
I feel like they built God's Eye versus DDM. So you can just do that to get the belts off of Barry Bombers.
Oh yeah, Mirai's not champion anymore. It's definitely God's
Yeah.
Eye.
So I think that'll be the vision there.
um,
Because I mean the Ueda Tai team is strong, but I think they probably lose to Mayu, maybe. No, Mayu's
I
with
can.
Hanan and Ida. Probably not.
Yeah, that's a hard sell, but I also think that it's possible that they want to do a little preview of Shuri versus Mayu, and have God's
Oh,
Eye
that's
beat
true.
them in the semifinals.
Maybe, yeah. That'd be a
So it's
weird one though,
possible.
because that is a strong Ueda Tai trio. Like, how do you even beat them?
Actually, something that I noticed and the Conan posted about for New Year's is that she's beaten Starlight Kid. She's pinned both Starlight Kid and Azumi in the past
Oh,
6 months. Um,
interesting.
so I'm not saying that she'll do that. And as I always say, Saiita's kryptonite is Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. So this is a
Hmm.
pretty much impossible match for them. Is Stars versus Oedo Tai. So I think Oedo Tai probably moves through, and then
God's Eye and
God's
Ueda
Eye
Tai?
against Oedo Tai in the semis.
Hmm.
The other, it doesn't really matter. It'll probably just be Bari Bombers in the end, over. these teams that they have in their thing. That's a hard sell though. They have a really rough match in the semis.
Yeah, that's like that round one match is a murderer's row.
Just
Azumi,
just to,
Saya,
yeah,
Utami against Megan, Suzu, and May. Like that's crazy.
and then they
Um,
immediately fight the champions.
yeah.
And it feels like champions have to go all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna put the belts on the line again. That might be the quickest way to do everything because you might be
They
running out of
probably should.
time to
Yeah.
take belts off of Giulia. Yeah, I'm either going with God's Eye or the Ueda Tai team because that is a strong Ueda Tai. Like that
Though
is
I could
three top
see
dogs.
what I could also see is Barber Bombers getting eliminated or losing and then running a match back at Corkin, depending on
Maybe
who it's against. Uh,
that could
who
work.
knows? But yeah, I think my final answer is God's Eye over Barber Bombers for the belts. I imagine Barber Bombers,
Mm,
if they get to the
okay.
finals, will put the belts on the line.
Interesting. We then have a special tag match that has really changed drastically in terms of the power because
Hmm.
it's Yuna Mizumori, Mina Shirakawa, Saori Ano, and Maika.
You
You
know
have the
what's
top
interesting?
two champions in this match.
They're running that back
Yeah.
because they're on the Corkin. They're doing Ano and Micah versus Mayu and Giulia.
Are they still though? Because remember they deleted that, so
Oh yeah,
I don't
I
know if
don't
they're
know for
still
sure.
like I don't know if that's still the plan. That's not on the news
They might
page
have
anymore.
deleted it because it gave away that Sherry's losing.
Maybe yes, that's a good point. Because I really am confused, like why they just
As am
announced it
I.
for Corkin and then took it away. But who knows? Oh, maybe it's here. Maybe it's here actually.
That one I can still kind of like. I it makes a lot of sense, and it's not something you really have to build. It's just a all-star tag.
Oh, I
They really
found
like
it. No, did I find it?
it. I swear it's been 2 hours and we're still trying to find this one fucking source.
Yeah, no, because they have like everything else, but not the Corkin. No, because it says
Well,
the.
we'll see.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna check again. Okay, yes, we have it. I have it. I found it. It's
Okay.
here. Okay, so you were right. Competing for the rights challenge for the World and Wonder Championship. Participating players will be announced at a later date. That is on the January 6th Corkin. So that is a. So is it one winner gets the challenge for either one?
Probably should be.
Yeah, competing for the right to challenge the World and Wonder Championship. So I don't know though. Maybe it's a final two. Get.
I could see that. That would also be interesting.
Mm,
Again, I really hope it's Inaba because I
that's
know it
yeah.
won't be, but it would be interesting if somebody like Unique won the battle royal and not
Yeah,
Giulia, who can just challenge. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to win a battle royal if you're Giulia.
that's true.
So it'd be sick if it was somebody a bit lower on the card or an outsider or something, um,
Mm.
kind of fighting for their way in that battle royal on the 6th. Presuming it does
We
happen.
Yeah, I imagine it is. It's on the news. I finally
Mm.
found it. We then have a New Year champion tag battle. It's the winner of Mayu and Suri teaming with Giulia against
It's funny
Maika
how
and
we
Suri
jumped to the
Ano.
Korakuen.
But yeah, it's
Yeah,
news, so we have to.
yeah.
Um, so that was also announced, and that's Mayu and Giulia against Maika and Ano. That's kind of crazy. And then yeah, it's Hanako and Sayaka Kurara versus Yuzuki and Rani Yagami. So no Rian there.
Oh, wonder where
Um,
she's gonna debut.
not sure, but yeah, our special tag match: Maika, Ano, Mina, and Unimon against Yu, Nanai, Hazuki, and Saki Kashima.
And if you're listening to
Um,
this just happened, by the way.
yes, yeah.
Everybody.
I I feel like this might be a 7-Up getting a win and challenging AphroditE.
They should
Yeah.
over Yuna,
Okay.
especially
Yes.
because Yuna used to be in 7 Up.
Yes, that's true. And you also have Mina there to beat around if they want to, because that's a
Yeah,
storyline, I guess.
maybe Mina gets her win back, but I think that's hard when we're looking at Yuna Mizumori.
Yeah, she's a pin eater, so I think
And it's
that's
like
that.
Saikashima even is like
Mm.
she could lose that, but I don't think she will.
But that's that. We will. I mean, you'll all know this by the time you're listening, so it's
Yes.
no point in sticking
None of
on it.
this matters.
No. The big show then is on the 4th of January, Ittenyon Stardom Gate 2024 in the Tokyo Dome City Hall. There's like very few sections of this sold out. That's weird, but
Azumi looks so cool on this poster.
she
I
does. A lot of them
apologize,
do.
but
To
she
be fair,
looks
it's
yeah.
really good. I love Mayu though, just off to
Yeah,
the side
Mayu
carrying the
being
thing.
being the biggest, just like being Mayu
Yeah,
is sick.
this is what she deserves. This isn't like a great card. They even have a dark match. It's Lady C, Hina, and Kevin versus
It's gonna
Hanako,
be
Yuzuki,
super
and
early.
Rana Yagami. Yes. Then there's Hazuki, Hanan, and Ida versus Kid, Fuki and Death, and Rina, which
Mm.
you'd imagine is a Stars win. And there's Mai
Wait, no,
Sakurai. No, that was Hanan and Hazuki.
it's a clown though.
That's true. Clown over Ida.
Oh, I'm losing it. I apologize.
Okay, all right.
I thought you said an Oedo Tai win. I was
No,
like, wait, what?
no, I said Stars. Okay. We then have Mai Sakurai and Tekla versus Mina Shirakawa and Mei Sarah.
All the
Um,
stars are here.
yeah. Um, Generally, I don't know. Maybe Mei over Tekla again.
Probably, yeah, probably Mina and May.
Yeah. All right. We then have Shiori Ano, Yuna Mizumori, and Saki, who is sticking around against Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Rocca. You'd imagine Ano beats Rocca as the new champ,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
probably.
Utami Hayashishita, Saika Matani, and Azumi take on Mirai, Amisore, and Saki Kashima.
This could cook.
Maybe. Queen's Quest win?
Yes.
Yeah. Then you have Giulia and Suzu against Maika and Megan.
Unless the New Eras are challenging, which they shouldn't, by the way.
Yeah, that would be no. Very, very bad. Um, yeah, we have a special tag that most people seem to think might lead to faction change because Suzu
Mhm.
is teaming with Giulia and Maika is not. So Maika might be a bit flustered by that and go, "Hey, screw you, Giulia."
I imagine Julie gets another pinfall over Micah with a Ganosuke
Oh,
clutch.
okay, interesting. That's a good call. I think that I don't know. They might pin Megan, but only if she's going, like definitively
Yeah, if
end the thing.
if this is like her last show, then yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
we don't know
I
that
could
for
see, I
sure
could
because it's
yeah, if
felt
it is
like
the
her
last
last
show,
show for
I could
forever
see
now.
Suzu pinning Megan just to kind of get her heat back from
Mm,
losing the big show.
that would be
I don't
big.
think Julie needs to pin her again.
No,
If they, I think Suzu could use that, but we'll see.
could also go to a draw. They love draws.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Um, then we have an IWGP Women's Championship match. It's Mayu Iwatani defending against Suri.
What we
Um,
were talking about with the show, with the possible long time limits and stuff, we kind of forgot that like this is running super close to the Tokyo Dome show. Um,
yeah, they have an
so
end time.
if this lasts longer than like an hour and a half, like 2 hours, they're fucked.
Yeah, so the show is scheduled to start at 1 p.m. and end at 20 past 3. So that is 2 hours and 20 minutes for all of the matches.
Oh, that's I think is it maybe it's gates are open at
No, no, the
2:30.
show starts at 1.
No, I know, but for Tokyo
Oh,
Dome, because
oh,
I'm
Tokyo
pretty
Dome.
sure the Tokyo Dome starts like 10 minutes later. I might
Oh,
be an
really?
hour off, but maybe the 0 hour, like the Rambo
Yeah,
starts.
yeah, that might be it.
That's probably it.
Um,
But yeah, that's cutting it close.
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the rest of the card is so meh that you could have Mayu and Siri go long. But because I think they want eventually to do a super long IWGP Women's Title match just to say they did it.
Yeah, I mean, and if they're gonna run with anybody, it will probably be these two. Uh,
Mm. Mayu's retaining though. Like
yes, yes.
there's no drama here. I think Mayu just retains. So the only
Great. It'll be a
speculation
great
is online.
match, and they'll. Uh, I don't want to keep us here too long, obviously, but I'm pretty sure this might give Mayu one of the only edges over Shiri, like historically.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting one to look into. But
Yeah, I'll be real quick about it. Don't worry. Because yeah, I think this match will be great. Obviously, because it's Shuri and Mayu. They just had a great match like the other day. Um,
mm,
oh, it would be tied. It would be tied.
okay,
If
yeah.
she won this. So
So
still Shuri only losing record in the company is against Koguma and Julia
that's so crazy. But
in
that's
singles
that's the
matches.
best use of Siri. I like
It's
that.
pretty hilarious. Um,
Um,
it's kind of John Moxley esque, where like the only person, like one of the only people with like a winning record over him is Toriano. Like
oh,
it's like him and like maybe like two other people. since he left WWE.
Yeah,
So
I
very
don't.
Shuri. It's very similar. How funny how similar those are.
There are 3 shows this weekend, but there's only a handful of matches announced for the Corkin and nothing after that. I'd imagine they're waiting until after the 4th to announce stuff, which does tell you that there's going to be a shake-up or two. 'Cause why else would they be keeping the cards that close to their chest? So who knows? Also of note, next Wednesday, it will have happened by the time we record, but Miyu Amasaki is going to Gato Move to wrestle Mei Saruga. This
Oh,
match was
that
meant
was
to
the match that
happen.
was supposed to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was meant to happen before, and then it got delayed, which is probably for the best because I think Miyu is a lot better now than when it was originally scheduled. So I think it would be a much better match now than it would have been. So I'm here for that. And hey, maybe we can get Mei Saruga in Stardom again sometime soon. That was cool.
Miss her. Oh,
Um,
her
yeah.
May May in a tag or not in a tag
Yes.
in a
Why how have they
singles.
not done that yet? That's absurd.
I
So,
mean,
yeah,
she
let's
showed
get
up.
to it.
She showed up. That was her first match. Was with
Yeah,
Miss Saruga in
yeah.
that tag.
So, let's go. Um, but yeah, I think that's everything because we can't really preview the Corkin because, well, there's only 3 matches. We did talk about them. But we don't know who's in the Rumble, so you can't predict the winner. Um,
I'm
and we
praying
also
for
don't know
Tomoko
what
Hinaba.
the factions are gonna look like by then, so apologies, but if we had waited for the
Ooh,
announcements, we'd have missed
ooh.
these shows. So
Yeah. So it says the Rumble is for Osaka for
yeah,
the big Osaka show.
yeah,
Hmm. Because I would have liked it if it was like on the Takadana Baba show or something.
they're never doing
Like
a red belt
us.
match on Takadana
I
Baba.
know, but it
I'm
would be
sorry.
cooler if it was like if I don't know. I feel like we talk about it every week. We don't have to talk about how. Uh,
No,
you
especially
know.
not today because we're about to
Yeah.
go 2.5 hours. So
Exactly.
all right. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week to discuss the January 3rd show in immense detail. Don't you worry. I will break down this Rookie of the Year tournament in the
Oh yeah.
most detail you will ever hear. We will also talk about Triangle Derby. The 1-4 show will happen. We will discuss that. And yeah, we'll look back at who won the Corkin and probably just talk about the house shows briefly because there'd be no point in watching those. But yeah, let's hope next week we've lots to discuss. But I hope you enjoyed. This was the big show for Stardom, so I hope you all enjoyed it, and all you Micah maniacs are just as happy as we are.
Yeah. Go check out my best of the year thread, my match of the year thread
If
on
you ever
Twitter.
get it
'Cause
posted.
if it will ever post, I don't know. Twitter hates me, but if it ever posts, that will be up. I hope around by the time that this is out. So go check it out. And I will have my new spreadsheet available on my Twitter as well
Woo!
for 2024.
Hoorah!
Um, Noah did not start the year off great for me, but we
There,
stick to
there
it. You
could
know
be
how it
no
is.
there could be no worse omen for 2024 wrestling than Kota Ibushi and Marufuji.
I didn't even
Just
watch that match. That's the funny thing is that it's like
no,
the average is terrible, and I didn't
yeah,
even watch the worst match on the card,
like
as far as I heard.
I think that could be a bad omen for pro wrestling. Like if
Well, but
2024 is really bad, I think we can all blame Noah for it. So
they do. I mean, this past year was all right. Like in terms of in ring, it was great, but I think like the actual like vibes and everything were off. I think that's the perfect definition of Noah the New Year 2023, where they had one of the best male singles matches of the year uh, in the main event, but then like also a bunch of like just bad shit. So yeah, I think bad omen. I agree.
yeah, okay, all right. Well, with that, it is time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ejo.
Joe.